Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to BlackOut Gaming TV as we bring you the last game, the last official game of ETF2L's Season 9 of Highlander. We have seen the results for all of the divisions so far. We've crowned our new Premiership champions, Strong Opinions, and we have crowned our high champions, the Bureau, who managed to claim their place in Prem. But there is one more spot up for grabs. And of course, that brings us to today, where we have the relegation playoff. That is between the team that finished 7th in Premiership last season, Stacked, versus the team that lost out to Bureau in that high final, TC Ambition. The team that wins today will go to Prem, while the team that loses will end up playing in high. I'm CeeJaey, and with me tonight is Sigafoo and John. Sigafoo, how are things going, man?
Things are going great, especially after watching you win the finals. That was great. Fun cast to do, really great matchup, and excited to be out here tonight to see this relegation where it's kind of in the same way. I mean, it has a lot on the line just in terms of pride and just wanting to be in that invite, especially for the high team in particular. They want to prove themselves. They want to get up there, and can Stack get up to the plate to be able to match that? I don't know. I mean, how are you feeling out here tonight between these two teams?
I think it's a really interesting matchup, actually. Stacked have had a lot of problems this season. I mean, to put history in perspective, Stacked have been around since season 5. There's only two teams, Fair Enough and High Panther, who've been in Prem longer than Stacked. Stacked got promoted the same season as Chess Club. They played in Division 1, or what was known as Division 1 back in the day, and they finished 2nd in season 5. They played a relegation match just like this, but they were on the other end of the coin. They were trying to get into Prem, having finished 2nd in high, and they spent the last few seasons playing in Prem. And their first outing, they finished, I believe it was 5th. Their second, they finished in 4th, where they got into the playoffs. So this is a team that has played in the Premiership playoffs in the past. But the past 2 seasons, they finished 6th, and obviously this season 7th. And I think the kind of to just sum up their season, all you had to look was that last match against Wasp. I do believe one of the maps was Gully Wash, and all they needed to do was get 1 point across 2 maps, and that would have saved their skins from having to play this game. But in the end, Wasp ran out taking all the points, and that's left them in this situation. So it's been a kind of a tumble from grace for them. When you look at some of the players on their team, it's maybe a bit surprising that they're in this position, whereas TC Ambition have just they've excelled in the past season. Some people thought they were favourites to win high. They came so very close in the final against the Bureau. For anyone who watched that, the Barn Blitz game, it was just insane how quickly some of the caps went down. And they have some rising stars in their lineup, and some players who've played Prem, in the past. We've got people like Condom on Medic, who is a very experienced Sixers medic with Lego. So, both teams have got, history on their side. And well, I would say Stacked have got history on their side, but Ambition are definitely kind of an up-and-coming team.
Yeah, so we'll see if I guess Ambition can match their name. I mean, Stacked, that's kind of the funny thing is coming into the season, and I knew of them. I'm not as familiar with the European scene as you are, but as you said, like you kind of expect more out of them, and they just never seem to bring it. And even when you kind of watch them play the game, it always seems like something's lacking, and I can never really put my finger on it because you feel like, yeah, maybe their DM's not good enough to put them up there at the top of the teams, but they really shouldn't be as bad as they are. And I don't know if it's just a lack of focus or kind of like ultimately like what it comes down to. But then again, too, as you said, like they've been on this kind of downward trend for the last couple seasons. And, that's got to ride on you mentally, just as a team to get that motivation to get back up there and knowing that you're going to go out there to lose those games. And then, your final match of the season, you can't even get the 1 point that you need to, pull yourself out of the relegation. I can't even say that word. Goodness gracious. Professional caster here. But either way, like, that's it's always kind of one of those interesting things. So we're going to be starting out on Gully Wash here, is my understanding. And so, I don't know, coming into this map, who do you think kind of has the upper hand, CeeJaey?
The thing is, before, like you'd asked this, before, entering the server, and you just asked me, and I would say, yeah, Stacked. I mean, Stacked this season have tried. Their aim was to play with Sorix on Scout, arguably one of the best scouts, in Highlander in Europe. He won Scout of the Season in Highlander a few seasons ago. And Josh on Soldier, who, again, a very, very experienced soldier. The two of them play together on Team Lego in Premiership Sixes. They have an excellent DM, and they would do really well on a map like this. But these players aren't here today. They've got Kermit on Scout and Hex on Soldier, which are two new players that I suppose Beeper's brought into the fold to kind of grow, I suppose, a new team and kind of looking forward to the future. We can quickly run down the rosters, I guess, before we come through. On Stacked, on Scout, we'll be having Kermit, Hex on Soldier, Ferry on Pyro, Demoman is Duck, Heavy is Morty, Engineer is Beep, Medic is Admirable, Sniper is Yaug, and on Spy is Hard. And, there's some names there, like, Beep obviously has been around with Stack. He's the leader. He's the main man for them. Admirable was kind of the main medic for this Gone season, but he only played, I think it was 3 or 4 games. But when it comes to experience and main calling, there isn't many medics who've got it better than Admirable. He's played at the highest level of Sixes in Highlander for a long time. And yeah, there's a couple. Ferry did very well as Pyro this season. His stats showed it. He kind of stood out. So there's a lot of quality here. It's just whether the team's gelled, and this is a team that's a previous Platinum champion. In UGC, so far in Plat this season, they've lost both their games against teams that played in High. So it's not looking good with this roster, but. Like I said, this is a high pressure situation, and who knows what could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And then coming over to Team Colon/Ambition. Can we just call him Ambition? Is that okay?
Yeah,
just to abbreviate down?
Fine, yeah.
All right. Yeah. So then on Scout, we'll have Schulkippel, we'll go with that pronunciation. Maybe chat can correct us on that. Cryma on Soldier. On Pyro, we're gonna have Sinrise. On Demo, we have Setsul. On Heavy, we'll have Justice, Engineer, Hammock, and on Medic, of course, Condom. On Sniper, we'll have Flo, and on Spy, we'll have Selic. What are kind of the standout names do you see on that roster, CeeJaey?
It's a very interesting roster. I mean, like I said, they were a very, very strong team in High. I myself do a spreadsheet for Premiership Division. I've done the last couple of seasons. Just a lot of stats for each class. Based on the logs from officials, and it gives you an idea of which players have been performing well. And somebody did, I think it was C, one of the spies in High, did the same for the High division. And of all the players, all of the snipers, Flo was above and beyond the best sniper in High statistically. His kills per minute, his KAD, everything. Just the guy is a beast. And I've scrimmed against Ambition a few times leading up to our playoff games with strong opinions, and obviously we won Prem, and even we had to say, look, Flo, we got to shut him down. You give the guy space and time, he hits those shots. So that's something Stacks need to be aware of. But the rest of the team is very strong as well. I mean, Schulkippel is not their main scout. Their main scout is actually Cello. But Schulkippel is a very strong player himself. He plays for the Sixes team Foreskins, who won High last season in Sixes. So he's a Premiership Sixes player. And also Sinrise has been, one of the better Pyros we've seen coming out of High. He's had some really, really clutch plays. We saw him in the final as well, and in the playoffs. He takes a lot of the Ubers for Ambition, which is interesting because this combo is kind of... it's been a bit rocked by some of the changes in Heavy. Their main Heavy was Mars for most of the season. Mars couldn't play the playoffs, so Scrambled was brought in. Scrambled got banned for interfering with someone's mumble. That was what was listed as the ban reason. So they've been using different heavies, but Justice is playing, and Justice is a Premiership level heavy. He's been playing for the Experiment this season, and for me, I think he is one of the most underrated heavies out there. He's a very smart player, and I think it'll be he's going to make that combo extremely strong for TC. So yeah, definitely their combo, that kind of Setsul, Sinrise, Justice sort of group together. But definitely, if they can keep Flo and Flo's on his game, then he can really make the difference, especially on a map like this where sniper sightlines are quite friendly.
Yeah, well, and especially on our next map as well, which is going to be process. So we're going to do some back-to-back, 5 CP, which will be interesting because I'm kind of surprised that both teams would pick one. Because if somebody gets some momentum on the first map, I would not be surprised if they carry it to the second map. Because it's not like you're going to have that change of pace where like, oh well, we're going to have a really good defense on payload or something like that. So it's going to be like a 5 CP day, which I think they kind of play the same way. But as you said, Sniper has a lot of dictation on these different maps. So I don't know, between Gullywash and Process, I'd probably say Process is a little bit more heavy towards the Sniper, whereas Gullywash, it can definitely be effective, but it also can be hard to work in on those stalemates in particular. I mean, how do you usually like to kind of play Gullywash yourself? Are you kind of a person who just likes to push it aggressively, or I guess kind of what are the different strategies you see for Gullywash being played here tonight?
I'm gonna just put something out there before I say that, because people are gonna start calling me names in the Twitch chat, I'm sure, because our team actually banned both Gullywash and Process in both of our playoff games. It's not that we didn't like CP; it's just that we hadn't practiced it for a long time. We didn't really want to spend the time practicing it. But I think in general, Gullywash favors the aggressive style. I think Process is a different kettle of fish. It's something you can play it slowly and passively. Whereas Gullywash, I really do think you need to take control of a side, take that initiative, because in Highlander, generally you're going to be coming out of the big door area, this kind of what ends up being a flank area, and you need to decide very quickly, you're going to take the left hand side or the right hand side. If you take the left hand side, that's going to be your side because it's next to your choke. It takes you to your second, whereas the other side is kind of the more aggressive route, and it takes control of the area that leads you onto your enemy team's second. So you need to have the right players in the right positions. Make a decision. Your demo needs to get there. Say, this is the way we're going, follow up on the damage that's done, and then need to move across the point at the right time. And if you walk across the point, then you're going to get destroyed. You need to have different people doing different things. So definitely, I think an aggressive kind of middle works the best, because then while everyone is doing stuff like your soldiers jumping, your scouts running in holding W, that gives your sniper a lot of time to just wait and take the shot. Whereas if you're playing much more passively, it doesn't work on this map because of the space that there is on the floor. You're just going to get bombed straight away, and your sniper's just not going to be able to take any shots whatsoever.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the interesting things about the Gullywash mid compared to like Process mid or something like that. Is just especially the height levels of having that ground that you start off on, then you can like run up into that higher space and working with your team to cross the point, and it can create some really interesting mids as well, because like unlike in Process where it's like you kind of you basically can go right, or you could go left, but that's like a little bit more unusual, as in like to go to their side, try to take their med pack. On Gullywash, it's kind of like sometimes you'll see teams take each other's choke points, and so like they're playing on the opposite side of what they normally do. And seeing how they can support their team, and especially like as you said, like the soldier bombing and stuff like that can be really interesting as well, because particularly on Gullywash, you can get on the mid fights, you can have that soldier do the double jump, get way up into that skybox, come all the way back down, and might be able to land a pick, and then also you got usually your sniper standing in big door, who can make just absolute crazy amount of headshots if he's playing it correctly. And I kind of like that, this map for that. But I think, the other thing that I think Gullywash really lends itself to, and I think this is kind of 5 CP in general, is not only kind of that aggressiveness for the mids, but working that into like, when you take the next point and whatnot. And I think a lot of teams, particularly in lower levels, tend to get too passive when they're playing 5 CP. They think like, oh, well, we have even Ubers, let's not do anything. Let's just sit here for 50 minutes and hope something, a miracle happens. Versus I think the better teams tend to like, let's go trade Ubers, back off, and then re-push in and just try to win that fight. And I think that often comes around the flank classes. And can the flank classes get that extra damage? Because the combo classes, it can be hard to work in unless you have that Uber advantage. But the flank classes can always kind of make some different plays. And I don't know, between the two teams out here tonight, who would you say would have like the stronger flank, being the soldier, scout, and engineer?
That's difficult.
I like that. I don't know. Question, CeeJaey.
Yeah, I mean, the TC Ambition like flank. You look at Shakipple. He's very experienced, great DM scout. but he hasn't played much with the team, so I'm not sure how good his coordination is going to be. Cryma is a player who kind of, up and coming player. He played on the team Mad last season, and they reached the final of High before losing out. He played this version of the match with High, and they lost out to Unpoppable, who finished 7th back in season 8. So he's been in this position before. And he's been on a couple of different teams, but he is definitely a player who many see as an up and coming soldier who could definitely play at Prem level. So that's going to be a pretty strong flank for Ambition. Whereas on the other hand, you've got Kermit, another player who's got 6's Prem experience. He's been around the TF2 community for a long time. And Hex is a Turkish player who's played a variety of classes, but again, he's played at a high level in 6's, has got good DM. So really, I think DM-wise, the two flanks are kind of on an equal keel here, but on an even keel, but it's going to come down to coordination and strategy. Just as I say that, we have gone live, and we're going to have Beep and his team stacked in the blue with Sinrise and his team TC Ambition in the red. Sigafoo, do you want to take away the first middle?
Yeah, absolutely. I will take that away as Duck comes out through his own choke, decides to drop down, interestingly enough, to push through, and then we're actually going to have a mid-fight, kind of mostly over on this right-hand side. The red team medic actually ate a pipe as the heavy's down so incredibly low, finally does get taken out versus the other heavy, and right now it's kind of just a back and forth, but a couple frags coming out in the favor right now of TC as a soldier. Actually, the scout's right behind the medic. That's Shul. He actually gets the pop out of the medic, which is quick fix on Stack, but it doesn't matter as the medic. Oh no, he dropped! Was that a drop out of condom, or that was incredibly close? As he goes down on point, but they do come down with the point. TC, that is.
Yeah, they got control, but they've lost a hell of a lot of players for it. Setsul is very low, has to back off towards Big Door. Protection from his Pyro and that mini sentry there. And something that we saw a couple of times last season on the 5CP maps, Admirable really loves the quick fix. He loves it more than me, Sigafoo. So I would not be surprised if we see a lot of quick fixes tonight on the first 2 maps, as Duck has gone down to that Enforcer play from Selec, a weapon that he is well known to be using. And Admirable has that quick fix again, but Condom only at about 50%. He is running Kritzkrieg, and we all know that Kritzkrieg can demolish a quick fix as long as it's used in the right way. And it's going to be interesting to see if Stacked here wait, if they're aware of the crits, or if they're just gonna try and push before Condom gets his crits. But he's not going to, because Condom has that 100%. The Stacked are electing to just play a little bit more passive as Ambition are coming through. Then the crits comes in and it is used, but it doesn't get it. Setsul and Sinrise both go down, and then everyone just gets destroyed. Cryma and Justice as well, all their heavy players absolutely demolished there as the quick fix comes in, keeps everyone alive, and it's not looking good for Ambition with only 4 players alive.
And here we go, Duck running into the lobby area with Admirable, who did pop off that quick fix. I'm not sure if that was really necessary. I think they probably could have taken the second point for free, but they're doing that just now with ×3 on the point finally capped, and they're starting to poke into that final point hard. The Spy does get caught out by Sinrise right there, so no Spy giving you any intel, but right now we have the Pyro Fairy going underneath into water, and I don't know if that was called out, which is one of the best places for a Pyro to be on this point, because you can do that air blasting, but I guess he elects to jump back out and meet up with his combo, as we have the Kritzkrieg at 82% right now on the final point, with the... Actually, Admirable went down there to some stickies right before, so it just maybe caught himself in a little bit of a bad spot.
Yeah, and there's 100% Kritzkrieg in the hands of Condom. The Conch, comes out there from Cryma, and they're trying to take it through River, trying to get some space, and they're doing really well here, just moving as to use a word used by High GPS, the death ball. So all the team just goes in one big unit. Just got to watch out for that back cap. There are some stickies. I'm not sure if Justice knows, and he doesn't. Duck takes him down with a sticky trap, but they are going to recapture this second point, and they still have a sizable advantage, 100% still, and only 20% for Admirable. I'm going to just check if he's still running that quick fix. No, he's on Medigun now. Realised that the quick fix isn't quite working out, and TC Ambition should be able to take this midpoint now if they just take the space that's being given to them by Stacked, who are playing very, very passive. Selec coming in from behind, doesn't manage to get the stab though, as Hex wins the flank battle against Cryma, and it's just kind of, we get to this position now, are we going to have a bit of a stalemate? And it's not in Ambition's interests, is it? Because they need to use the crits, because the longer they wait, the earlier Admirable's going to get that Uber, and that's just going to stop you from doing anything with the crits.
Well, the other thing that happened is when, I guess Selleck should have been able to call out that they did have an Uber charge, but they knew that the mech didn't have Uber. Like, why didn't they just push in ahead of time? I mean, the only thing that would stop them or scare them was maybe the sniper sightline, but as you said, them playing passively in that situation really did not do any benefit, and here we go. The crits does come out, but the Uber gets counter-popped here onto Stacked, and they're going to start pushing through the second-hand side, or are they? They're going to have a little bit of a sticky trap that does get taken out, but now the advantage is kind of in neither team's favor. I would say, you know, Stacked, if they wanted to, they could just try to dry push this and see what happens, but I'm really surprised at Ambition. They did not do anything with it as Sinrise gets a nice little reflect kill onto Kermit there, punishing him for that rocket as Hard gets behind the enemy team and he starts to get around, but now it's going to be on which team wants to push this, and you know, the crit streak is going to come up just a slight bit earlier, but actually, as I say that, the Demline's actually pushing through a big door. We'll see if he can get anything with that.
Oh, the headshot comes in from Flo on a 4-kill streak, and he takes down the sniper as well. It's taken down Admirable with an amazing shot there, and the sniper. That's just given all the space, all the heals to TC Ambition. They are going to take this midpoint now, and the rest of the Stacked players are just going to get cleaned up. Those that survive trying to run away there. Kermit just cleaning up the stickies in order to try and get out. He's hiding a banana. I'm wondering if anyone can see him. He does take down Selleck, which, I mean, not the best trade in the world, but it's something, the best he could do in that situation. And Stacked are far back now, 20% in the bank for them, as Morty's just peeking out of that shutter door to see what can go on. But TC Ambition are probably going to take this second point for free. The only thing there is Beep's mini sentry watching over the point. That's going to get gunned down soon enough, and this 100% crits is been held on since the second point, and Ambition could use this for a last push as Admirable still only at 50% Sigafoo, and this could, if executed correctly, we could see a round win here.
Yeah, we'll see if they can actually execute it correctly, because it seems so far, I mean, they haven't been able to get anything with it, but as I say that they're currently walking the Demline down the riverside, but it's getting called out, and he's eating some pipes right now, and they see if they can get it, but right now, Admirable sitting at 75%, slowly climbing up there, and they need to use that crit streak, and they need to use it right now, and I don't know if they're feeling enough of the pressure, because TC looks like they're just going to be holding into lobby, and what are they doing? Their passiveness is working against them, as now 85% in climbing. Finally, Demline's actually going to put out a sticky. Is he able to connect? Only down, takes down Hex from that that area on the balcony side, and finally nothing. The soldier does push through, but Admirable now at 100%, and should be able to defend this point.
Yeah, that was really well played there by Hex. Just got in the face of Setsul, and even though he died for it, it just wasted the crits. But TC Ambition are moving in anyway. The kills are just coming in left, right, and center. Hard takes down Setsul with the back stab, and the Uber is finally used by Admirable on the point, and that's just going to be enough to clean up those players who are trying to cap. Only two alive. It's Flo and Justice, and Justice is being chased. Flo gets the headshot onto the spy, goes down to Hex, but that just 180 headshotting the French spy from point blank range. Great play by him, but Justice gets cleaned up as well, and Stacked are surely going to recapture this second point now, and with Condom just respawning, he's going to be at an uber disadvantage. Needs to be careful as Duck is already in on the midpoint. Stacked are being really aggressive here, and this is what we were talking about earlier on, Sigafoo, just keeping up that aggression and that momentum, which is the point. They could just take this point for free now and take an uber advantage onto the next second.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is exactly what TC should have been doing this entire round, but Stacked is showing them up as they're already onto this middle point, took it, and looking to push onto this next point as Admirable sitting at 93%. We should be seeing this Uber pop through, as actually the medic is sitting really close and probably shouldn't be doing this as a soldier, and Delman jumping, Conversation get pinned down here, gets killed on that second point, as they should be able to take this pretty easily, but as I say that, Cryma drops down, nobody checked above, and he takes down Admirable as well. So both medics bump, but the frags are coming out in the favor of Stacked. Sinrise trying to get forward, do damage for his team, but he's so incredibly low, as a scout is also trying to push forward. He does take down Hard with the help of the spy. There you go. But Hard is sitting there trying to defend this point, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, it gets on a 3K right there. And I'm surprised by this, but we should see Stacked re-pushing if they wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, that was great play by Cryma there. He was hidden and Stacked didn't check it. They should really have checked it. Just a quick glance would have made you aware that the soldier was there, but instead he was allowed to get 3 free rockets onto Admirable, taking him down, but no, Null comes in there. That's hard to get with another backstab onto Setsul. And yeah, I mean, Shakippa was doing a great job just cleaning up after the Uber fight, and it looked like TC Ambition were winning that fight. But in the end, Hard, but big jump in from Cryma, just going to get destroyed there by Morty, and Justice is kind of alone here, hasn't got much support from his team. And with the sniper watching and Duck sticking him up, he's probably going to get caught out and not be alive unless he can do something big here. No, he's going to take down Duck. Just gets the damage, and then looking at Morty, he's just so low. As Shakippa comes in from lower, and gets a lot of damage onto him. Admirable goes down to Setsul. Setsul just walks in and just starts flinging those pipes around, takes down the medic, and somehow Ambition are just DMing their way through Big Door.
We'll see if they can actually work their way through as the Uber does forced off here. Or at least it seemed like it did. I don't know if Y kind of would have popped it as his health is actually full, and they're going to back off through Big Door. And that's going to basically mean Admirable is going to be at even. Uber is just a little bit behind, but it's not going to matter too much. But the one thing that kind of happened out a little bit earlier there is they did not have, TC did not have anybody at choke. They didn't have anybody there. But Stacked, I don't know if they just didn't have anybody who realized this or peeked this, but they could have easily got a lot of pressure in and kind of forced him off through that lobby area. But it looks like they're going to have their combo. Duck is just peeking through this big door area, trying to get them spammed down. Actually get some nice damage onto the soldier. Cryma's going to have to back up due to that. And Selleck, the spy, is sitting right there. He's waiting for his time as he gets spotted there by the scout. Maybe needs a cloak and dagger instead of the Invis Watch. As we're going to have the combo of Stacked reset at choke as well as TC. We're going to kind of get back to this back and forth area as both medics sitting at 100%. So we'll see how they want to get rid of this stalemate. But Sinrise goes down, so no Pyro on the defensive side here.
Yeah, no Pyro. It could be a big difference here. Ferry's just peeking around the corner. As long as he stays alive, he may be able to push that Uber back and just allow his team. But no, the Chris comes in, and the Uber is just countered. He's going to be used a lot onto Cryma, and he just gets so much damage onto the combo. Morty goes down, and lots of players are just getting melted away here. Duck is really far forward. He's going to get caught out from Cryma. He misses the air shot, but finally he just shoots the floor, takes him down. He's going to die for it, but Flo gets the headshot onto Admirable, trying to get away. He will not escape. Uber advantage for Condom, as long as he stays alive. Going to be using that Uber advantage later on. There is a teleporter up from Beep on the midpoint. Nobody's actually seen it yet. Hammock just walked past there. Didn't notice it, so that may be able to be used for some old sneaky plays later on. But Flo so far is just destroying. He's on an 8 kill streak, and he seems to be the difference at the moment, making those key picks onto Admirable. And we've just kind of reversed the sides here. We've now got Ambition in charge of the midpoint, and Stacked are defending their second, and we're just kind of holding at this choke point. But with a big Uber advantage, if Ambition are in the right mind to do it, they can just take this forward and surely get some good damage. As Stacked are electing to hold in this defensive position up top, which is a good idea, Sigafoo. I mean, you don't really want to be that close when you're at an Uber disadvantage.
Well, it's like that's exactly on the inverse side. When TC was holding on the second point, their medic was too close and ended up getting picked when they were at Uber disadvantage. Now we have Admirable switching over to the quick fix, holding in the upper area, as we're going to have Setsul peeking around the corner, putting out some damage, trying to see how long he can go, but he held out too long as he gets dropped there by his medic with the help of the sniper. And Condom now just peeking around with the heavy, and they're trying to figure out what they want to do, but they got to be careful not to get this Uber forced off, as they know the other medic is going to be at full charge. Do they know he's at quick fix as a scout gets killed there? But one interesting thing right now is that Flo and Schulkippel are tied with 16 frags, topping right now in this session, as they're getting a lot of aggression. They actually, the quick fix is going to be popped off by Admirable, but it's going to be the heavy who's going to push back in, takes down Duck's no demo man here for Stack to push through.
Yeah, and the Uber was using this. Only just worn off, but no, Sinrise goes down. But Flo is on a 10 kill streak. Someone needs to stop this man. He's just destroying it. Admirable goes down. The big NG plays from Hammock comes in with that unusual shotgun of his and just meat shot Admirable into the ground. 3 players left alive for Stacked. One of them is Beep, one of them is Duck, and the other is Hard the Spy. And Ambition here, 50% of Uber in the bank. They can take this second point for free, walk forward, and surely be able to take this last point. As Admirable still isn't even up. If they start walking forward now, they're going to have Uber by the time he spawns and starts healing the rest of his team. And they can convert this into a round win. But I said this before, Sigafoo, and it came to nothing. I mean, what do they need to do differently this time to make sure that they convert this huge advantage that they've got?
It's one word, push. They just have to push, and they have to do it quickly. I mean, right now, Admirable already at 30%. Selleck the Spy was actually in a decent spot to put some, spam down. But right now, you have Uber. They're getting down into the water area, and I guess they're just going to do an underneath push with the entire combo, but Duck's right there. He's going to see that Pyro Sinrise gets popped up, but doesn't matter as he gets saved by the Uber. They actually do drop the demo into this Uber, but remember, you don't get any cap time when you are Uber sitting on the point, but they're going to try to defend it, but nobody is there to help them out, and they just capped at 1-0 in the favor of TC.
That was, I have to shout out Selleck there. Big plays by him. using that enforcer, but he didn't get any kills. He came in through the shutter door and just distracted the soldier and the medic and the sniper. Like, the entire time those three players were trying to kill him, they couldn't kill him. And while they were doing that, the rest of the Ambition combo just walked in through under and managed to just force themselves onto the point. Once you've got kind of all that HP on the point, all you need to do is have your heavy spun up and just gunning people down, forcing them off the point, and they should be able to just, cap it out, which is exactly what they did, which was quite a clinical push in the end. But it looks like we have a pause here. Either that or I'm crashing, I'm not sure.
I believe it to be a pause, which is, quite a good time, I guess, after we already seen the cap go down. But I mean, finally, we see TC actually pushing off of their uber advantage that they had. They didn't wait until Admirable came back up to 100% before pushing. And, the first time they've done that pretty much all game is the first time they've had success on a push, and they worked and they got the first point. I mean, they should have won the round. I mean, how many minutes are we in here? About 15 minutes through the first round. And I think they probably could have won that in 9 minutes, 8 minutes, somewhere around there. I mean, they had them back on the last leg, but they just decided to kind of pull back. And I wonder if that's just a little bit of the nerves coming in, because I think that's one of the things when you're playing at such high stakes, you tend to be a little bit too safe. But again, when it comes to, Highlander and 5CP in particular, you just want to get aggressive. You really want to go at it. As it sounds like Flow is having some ping issues, so they're waiting for that to come back down. But I don't know, what did you kind of see, or what are your takeaways right now between Stacked and TC here in that first round?
For me, the big difference is it's the mediguns. It's got to be said, it's the mediguns. Like, each medigun can obviously be countered. It's you play the game long enough, you learn how to counter it, and if you know the other team's running crits, then you play in a position where either you get it right in their faces. We saw Hex do that perfectly earlier, just jumped into the face of the demo man. He had to shoot the floor, as we are actually back alive again. But no, Flow straight out of the gate takes down Admirable, and then Cryma comes in, takes down Duck. So no medic, no demo, and a lot of players are bleeding here for Stacked. And lots of players alive and healthy for TC Ambition. Looks like they're going to take this mid-fight quite comfortably. It's only hard underneath the point, nice and cloaked. Really trying to make a sneaky play up from behind. But that was quite comfortable from Ambition there, as Flo got the early body shot. And you can see why that Ambition want to have him with decent pings and playing to his potential.
Yeah, and we'll see as TC come through onto the second point. We have Admirable sitting in the upper area, which we kind of talked about before, is where you want to hold when you're at an uber disadvantage with a mini sentry of Beep backing up here. And this is pretty well played right now by Condom, as he does not want to pop if he can help it. But there you go, actually Flo takes down the counter sniper, so now you can rest comfortably as this medic. You don't have to worry about getting that snipe. You can hold on to this uber and they can push onto the final point, though Admirable should be at 100%. Though they are actually holding fairly aggressively in lobby right now. Do you think that's correct?
I do, yeah. I mean, well, they are backing off now, but I'm just looking at Duck. Like, he's playing in a really odd position. He has backed off now, and they're running the crit screen. So they do have 100% crits. So it's, excuse me, sorry. Wondering what their plan is to do with this. Are they gonna try and push out? Are they gonna try and force them? Because, if you have crits, I would have preferred to use a quick fix in this position to at least have a charge to defend with, because quick fix can keep your players nice and healthy, nice and alive, while the other team's pushing in with an uber advantage. But with this crit streak on last, surely you want to get aggressive with this, and as they do, they use the crits in river and it comes in and it's not going to do anything. Ambition just used the uber. Sinrise is just going to reflect a couple. There is a level 3 sentry in the middle and it's going to force Sinrise to fly through the air, but Duck goes down to a headshot from Flow. But Ambition really haven't converted this. The Duck, the only casualty, may be able to re-push this, but that level 3 sentry holding right next to the medic is going to deny any sort of pressure onto him. With Select down, there's no chance of a sap to try and disable it, and just moving it around, keeping the other team guessing as to where it's going to be. And we're just kind of resetting here, as Admirable is going to have a slim advantage, but I don't know, what do you think about this crits play on the last?
I really don't like it, just because you come back up after you know the other mech's going to have uber advantage on you. And right now, I mean, I think the advantage would go to TC, but they should have pushed right afterwards. They should have tried to focus down the gun, take that down, and then just dry push in. Like, you have so much you can do here, but here comes Uber actually out onto the Demoman, who's trying to get some damage, but he actually gets dropped in onto Uber. So no, Demoman, just Justice is the first one forward, but nobody is in, besides the scout in the shutter side. but he actually gets killed, and really confusing push there out of TC. A little bit of miscommunication as Admirable goes down to Cryma. Nice job as he's actually on a 3K. Level 3 Sentry Gun is still alive here by Beep, who's sending on the opposite side. It's just Justice who's trying to do it, but Hard's right behind the medic. He's actually going to take down Justice, as Kazum does get one saw onto him. He's going to try to run away for his life. He should be able to get out alive as this kind of failed push. No, Condom goes down. Hard chases him down. Condom probably shouldn't have held out as he did, but there you go, as Admirable now is going to have an uber advantage and have a chance to push out.
So much stuff happened there. Huge play from Cryma just to come in and take down Ferry, Duck, and Admirable in 2 rockets, taking down those 3 key players. And really, Ambition could have followed in from that. They dropped players, on an uber push against the crits. They really shouldn't do that. It's obvious what they're going to do. They're just going to place crits on the floor. And Stacked are getting aggressive now. They're walking out. They've changed onto a quick fix now. Admirable is keeping the other team guessing, and Kermit takes down Setsul. So no Demoman to try and defend this point. And just wondering if they're going to try and push forward onto mid. Admirable has a quick fix ready. Condom is only at 60%. And he's playing quite passive on his side of Big Door. But with Flo watching that area, Duck probably just a little bit hesitant to peek, but yeah, I mean, it was so close that I really think Ambition could have converted there. But when you've got 1 round on the board, and you're over halfway through the game, surely you're kind of thinking they're running crits. We don't need to rush this. The onus is on them to do something. Like, let's just calm things down a bit and take it a little bit slow. I'm not sure if that's what they're doing now. Just waiting for Stacked to push and see what they can do and let them wipe and then re-push back onto them.
Well, see, we're getting some exchange of damage here. It's actually Condom goes down below half HP. If both medic have their charge ready, we have a quick fix on the blue side of Stacked, and on the red side, we have an uber charge. But here we go. Delman actually Duck getting on some decent damage. He falls into drop down. I'm sure he did not mean to do that on purpose, but he might be able to try to make a play as Kermit also goes into drop down. So here we go. Condom's going to get a lot of damage onto him quickly. Is the force going to come off? No, nice defense there, protecting the medic, and Condom holding on, not popping. And this would be a good spot for them to push through, as there's going to be no demo man here on the defense, and Setsul is going to do just that as Admirable pops a quick fix, but he's probably going to have just to get out alive with Cryma behind the entire time. And there we go. Nice clinical push here by TC going on to his second point. The big thing is kind of going to die here to Hard. No, he gets caught out by the spy, or by the pyro there. And we should be able to see a push as they continue to go on to the next point. Yeah,
Admirable there. Still running. No, he's onto a medigun again now, so he is going to be at about a 30% disadvantage. But Justice did the perfect thing there. For all of you watching, don't know how to deal with a quick fix, just keep shooting the person. Just keep shooting the person being healed with a quick fix, and a heavy can out damage at that range the amount of heals you get from the quick fix. And he did exactly the right thing and took down enough players, and that was really good from Ambition. But once again, we're at this position where do they push with the advantage they have, or do they play a passive? But with the aggression I'm seeing so far on River, it does look like they are going to push as Hex goes down. Cryma surviving with a slither of health. 100% for Condom. Now, but once again, Setsul gets dropped. And though Condom is coming in underneath, he's on water with Sinrise. I'm not sure if Stacked are aware of this. There is a level 3 on the point. They're trying to blast people off, but there's no one to actually cap. That's what you need. You need someone to be capping while you're doing that. And that level 3 is just going to deny everything. Sinrise goes down to the stickies. 5 players left alive, and Condom is going to be very lucky here to try and get it. He serves up to River, and great play from him. Hard is going to be chasing him once again, but it does look like he's going to escape Sigafoo, and slightly luckier than he was in the previous push.
That is just a ridiculous hold there. I mean, you have an Uber being pushed in. Setsul's going to get taken out here onto the second point. Is Admirable already pushing out with this team, this aggression. So good out of Stacked, capturing it. The spy, Selleck, is actually on the final point. Getting a back cap. Is going to be able to get it in time. No, the Pyro should be able to deny that. Time 6 on the second point as they stack it, just to be sure. No demo man on this red team right now on the middle point, so we'll see if they can hold on despite that. But yeah, I mean, just Beep doing an amazing job. I don't know if it was caught on camera, but he kept his level 3 gun up that entire time. With the Pyro and Heavy shooting at it, and also good job by Duck putting stickies underneath the Pyro's feet so he couldn't push forward into it to do extra damage. As Admirable coming up at 100% here, looks like they do want to push through, and they're going to do just that. I'll let you take it away, CeeJaey, as they come into this middle point.
Yeah, the Ubers are used, but it's smashed so many times by Stacked. Morty goes down. It's just being soloed here on Justice. He gets launched forward. He's actually going to take down Duck as well. And Admirable is going to run away and manage to survive. but he's had to go back off into lobby, and Ambition are just going to take this. Well played by them. Admirable used his Uber there kind of defensively as Duck and Morty were so low, and they tried to push with it, and it didn't really work out as their Uber was multied so many times. Justice just kept it soloed on himself. Good play there by Condom. Good decision on keeping that Uber on one player, and it allowed him just to get so much damage done down there. So Stacked, once again, you can see Duck here is just sort of playing quite aggressive in lobby, just peeking out, and you can see the scout doesn't really want to contest with that, so falls back a little bit. But it looks like Ambition are like enjoying this river push. I mean, do you think they're doing the right thing here, or do you think they should like mix things up? Because they've tried this river push and it did work for them for that round win, but 3 or 4 times it's kind of fallen apart for them.
Well, I think what they need to do is, I think the river push is one of the best pushes you can do. Now, they're at an uber disadvantage right now, but they're not going to get pushed into, so they're okay with that. But the problem is that they're pushing in from water with nobody supporting them, from shutter, from balcony, anywhere. Like, you need to have some do that. It's actually, Sulk is in a really nice spot right now. He's going to get the drop on Admirable, and that should bring it in for TC. They need to push. They got 10 seconds of no healing, and I think they're going to do just that, as they're going to come in through, actually, the shutter side.
Yeah, this is a really good push, just keeping it onto the scout, flashing in Setsul. He hasn't been dropped this time, and with the help from Justice, does take down that level 3 sentry gun, but not many other kills coming in. But finally they do, as they're focusing the point, and Stacked trying to get onto that point. But when you've got that many players and that much damage just being thrown out defensively, there's not much you can do, and that is 2-0 to TC Ambition on this first map. Just 7 minutes to go, Sigafoo. And it's going to take, Stack need to get the next 2 rounds. I mean, if another round goes to TC Ambition, it's going to be pretty much out of their reach, and just going to see another mid-fight here. Do you want to take it away?
Yeah, so we'll see Setsul pushing in, putting out some damage to get the double bomb in, coming in from the soldier, getting some damage onto the sniper, trying to, I mean, obviously Flo does go down. Flo is such a clinical, or a huge player today, as Cell getting in a nice spot right behind Admirable, but gets caught out by the pyro there, and Stack doing what they need to do for this first step of catching back up. As you said, they're down 2 rounds, but they get the mid-fight, and maybe that'll help them continue forward, as they have a 30% advantage somehow over Condom. I'm not sure what happened with that. Oh, the quick fix, So there you go, they're going to pop it right away, but they actually do drop the soldier, and then they're going to have to actually back off here as Hex goes down trading with Cryma, and now the Uber advantage is going to go back in the favor of TC.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good decision from Stack, you have to say. And they didn't do what they needed to do with that quick fix, and that was focus Condom and get him down before he got his Uber, and they allowed him to survive, allowed him to get this 100%, so as long as he doesn't drop, it looks like Ambition are going to take control of this midpoint. And this, like right now, they can just sit back and just wait, because Uber against quick fix, you're in no rush to use it, you're in no rush to push, and Stacked are the ones who are going to really have to kind of force themselves on here. They really need to step something up, do something here, otherwise they are going to be losing the map, which I believe they picked.
Well, kind of coming back, I mean, we've had discussions before about the quick fix. I'm very against it. I think the quick fix is a very bad metagun. Obviously, you disagree with me on that. But even, point to this game today is, has there been a time where the quick fix has been successful? Maybe for one push? But, I've never seen... I think the problem when it comes down to the quick fix is it might be able to get you for, one moment, but then it's very hard to sustain a quick fix. And I don't know, I mean, I feel like today we're struggling to see the quick fix be effective. I mean, do you agree with that, or do you think that I'm still naive in my quick fix opinion?
In this scenario, I totally agree with you. I think, when I used quick fix on this map, last season, and my scout at the time, Feeling, he said, don't ever use quick fix on this map again. I was like, okay, I won't. I'm just going to interrupt myself there, as it looks like Ambition want to push it. Flo got the headshot onto Duck, and no man for Stacks means they're just walking in. Sniper goes down. Long range pipes from Setsul do take him down, and Stacks are just so passive. They've had to use the quick fix in their own lobby in order to keep Admirable and Hex up. And the players are just so scattered, but no, Hard's doing a great job there to actually to force the I think it was a combination of him and Beep, force the Uber out of Condom there, and they are going to get this second cap. They've got ×1 on the point, and they are going to finish it off with 4 players down for Stacked. They may just want to roll this onto last and try and just stick another nail into the coffin of Stacked, just really hammer it home as Ferry goes down, Morty goes down, Yaug goes down. So many players going down for Stacked, and Shulkibble just walks onto the point, makes it 3-0 for TC Ambition. And with 3 minutes and 52 seconds left on the clock, we've got Cryma in the chat already saying GG. His soldier counterpart saying GG as well. And Sigafoo, I do believe, that is going to be first map to TC Ambition.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much... What do we have left on the clock? 3 minutes and 30 seconds. I mean, this is pretty much padding your stats. Now, they might be able to get 2 rounds, Stacked could, if they literally push non-stop, and I think the fastest rounds you could do, I guess, would be a minute or so they could do it if they played absolutely perfectly, and I guess they're opening up this mid-fight not too bad as they do take down 3-2, with actually they're picking up a couple more. They're only 4 alive here on the red side, and Duck is already going forward onto his second point, and they're doing the aggression that they need to have, though he does eat a headshot while in midair. Hammock's going to go down here. No, he escapes with just 1 HP onto this final point, but I guess, yeah, I mean, if Stacked had any chance of doing exactly what they need to do, but they forgot to cap midpoint. Finally, it does go down, and they're already getting ready for the next push as Admirable coming up at 95%.
Yeah, and Stacked can, if they keep doing this, they can roll this, they can do something, they can get some points on the board. Maybe it won't make a difference on this map, but at least for morale, just getting a round on the board, because you don't really want to end up with 0 rounds on a map that you picked. As Hex wins the Battle of the Soldiers again, and Setsul getting really aggressive here, just trying to get onto Admirable there, but he is not going to be forced, he's not going to take that damage. He's arrowing his team. Yaug taking down Justice. And this is looking good for Stacks at the moment. They can do something. Justice isn't going to be up for another 15 seconds. And just waiting for them to do something, depending where they're going to go from. Duck's just trying to peek through main, seeing what's going on. He can see that there's a mini sentry behind that pillar. So going to have to be aware of that. But no! Short Kipple comes in, and was that a drop, Sigafoo?
I believe that was. That was a drop. Yeah, so there we go. That's going to prompt the push out here from the last point. They're just, I mean, again, it's pretty much, that was Stack's last gasp, and they're going to die here. As Condom actually runs in, gets an Uber Saw on the heavy, and then runs away with his life as this Hex was actually on the final point, trying to do something, as well as Kermit, who's just dancing for his life. He should go down pretty easily here as he runs into power. No, he actually wins that 1v1 and taunts it as he should. There's no reason he should have won that, as an LOL is tossed in chat there by the Pyro on the losing side. As Shoal Kipple's going to actually try to make a plan to Admirable, gets 1 shot onto him, trying to dance around. Can he get it? No, he cannot, and there you go, as they're just going to opt to hold on to this final point with 1 minute 30 seconds left on the clock. I mean, no one, this is already TC's map. They can't lose, even if they wanted to. And so kind of coming back to everything we're talking about, and it's going to be interesting moving over to the process and kind of how that goes. I think that'll favor at least the final pushes, you know, when it comes in here. Actually, I'll just let you take it away. But yeah, I mean, it'll just be interesting kind of coming into process with what's happened here, especially given that this is Stack's map and they just lost it.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of go over what you were saying about the quick fix, I agree with what you were saying. You know, in this position, like on a map like this, you know, you need to, you have choke points, and the choke points have been the bane of Stacked because the quick fix just hasn't worked in those points, and it's meant that they've lost out on the fights. I mean, look here, the Uber's been used by both teams in the lobby, and that's meant Morty stayed alive. If that was being quick fix, Morty would have died there simply because Justice could have focused him and taken him down, because you're not invincible, and it is possible to out damage the heals coming out from the quick fix, even when it's Ubered, you know, that 300%. So it gets to a point where you've got to think, you know, what's the quick fix used for? You need to, your quick fix builds quicker, so you're going to get it at the same time as you would get a crits, and crits, you know, you need to kill the enemy medic before he gets his Uber. That's the idea, and that's the same concept you need to do with quick fix. But if you're not using the quick fix aggressively, you're not using it in order to kill the enemy medic, you're just using it like you would an Uber, then you're not using it in the right way, and it kind of just falls apart because your team cannot play around it because you're not invincible. And that's kind of how you'll see me using a quick fix, you know, on a King of the Hill map, you know, because you can pump out those heals and it's very much more deathmatch. But on a map like this, not sure if it works. I mean, I've used it. I mean, I've played with it being used on Process before. I played with the Spanish national team a couple of seasons ago in the Nations Cup. It was the first time I'd ever seen it used, and I thought this isn't going to work. But you know, when you can put the heals on your scout and your demo, and you can move much faster, it does actually work on a map like Process if you play around it the right way. But if you're playing it like you were using it as an Uber, then it just doesn't work at all. And I think that's what we've seen here. And I don't know. I don't want to say that's been the difference, but it's been a factor in Stack's play. And I mean, some of the Ambition players have been going huge. I mean, Flo has been getting some really key picks, and I think Justice as well has been stand out in that combo. He's been doing his job very, very well.
Yeah, oh, and he definitely has. And I mean, I kind of want to hit the kind of the point you're talking about, which I definitely do agree with. But I think in some ways, I think that's what kind of is happening with Admirable, is that he's just getting so fancy and he's trying to be so, like, he's kind of like, in the Princess Bride, where like you're switching the glasses and you're trying to be super witty and like outsmart the opponent by constantly changing your Medigon and like, oh, this is going to be so smart because they're not going to expect this. And then all of a sudden you're down 0-3 and you haven't had a successful push more than a few times. And you're wondering, oh, wait, you didn't build up a tolerance to poison. You just put poison in your glass and you switched it to yourself. Like, I feel like he's kind of just outwitting himself and he needs to just kind of calm down, stick to a Medigun, and just play around it. And I think exactly what you're saying with Quick Fix, it's kind of the same thing with Kritzkrieg. If you play Kritzkrieg like you would play an Uber, it's going to not work in your favor. And I think that's the same way for Quick Fix, where you need to play a Quick Fix similar to a Kritzkrieg, which is that if you have it, you should pop it, like almost instantly, and start to take ground with your team. Because if you're going up against an Uber charge, or even a Kritzkrieg for that matter, you need to kill them before they get their charge off. And I don't know, we'll see if Admirable is going to keep to his antics of constantly changing around. But if he does, I'm hard-pressed to believe that they're going to be able to win off this. Because Stacked, I mean, they have what they need. They're winning some of the DM fights. They're being able to push forward aggressively. But they just kind of they lack that like continued momentum. And I think not having a consistent Uber charge or playing it just a little bit off is working against them. I mean, again, it's easy to, comment from the spectator position, but that definitely kind of seems the way to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the logs at the moment, and the highest damage was coming out of Duck there, just ahead of Setsul, the other demo. So Duck's been pumping out the damage, but for me, again, it's the two players that I mentioned. You've got Justice top fragging on the server with 31 kills, and Flo with 29, but he only died 8 times. Eight times he died. He has a KD of 4. So, I mean, he's just been doing amazingly. I mean, if you're staying alive that long, it's what I said at the start of the cast. When I've played against him and his team, and against any team with a good sniper, if you let them live, you don't put the pressure on them, they're going to have time to take those shots. And if you give them enough chances, they're going to take at least one. And, if they're a good sniper, they're going to take more than one. They're going to keep hitting off those shots. So, those two players going huge. And also Shulkipple, sorry, he was cleaning up really well after the Uber fight. The Ubers would wear off. There'd be people, scattered around, some damaged, and I'm guessing, that Ambition is saying, look, this guy's weak, and he's just been going around cleaning up, and he came in with 24 frags, third highest as well. So doing really well there. But Hex for Stacked has been kind of the highest killer for them, 20, same as Duck. So I mean, DM wise, it's pretty even, I guess. I mean, the top 5 of the top 6 are Ambition players, but then 3 of the Ambition players are kind of bottom with regards to kills. So it's kind of...
It balances out. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not been total out DM. It's just kind of the odd decision here, the odd kind of mistake there that's tipped it over, and Ambition have been more clinical in the way that they've been playing. So... it's interesting to see, and I'm sure there's going to be more drama around Justice, as he's kind of not sure exactly the details, and I'm not gonna say anything in case I'm wrong, but it seems that Shulkipple and Justice are both mercs for Ambition, but only one was allowed and one was a default, and Stacked aren't happy, and they wanted to I don't know, I'm not going to say any more, but I'm sure that's going to rear its ugly head again on the forums about mercs and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, how do you see this turning out with Process? I mean, what does Stack need to do on here to kind of change things up, to turn this around?
I mean, I think they absolutely can take this map. I mean, they showed their aggression. They showed their ability to continue to push off points. I mean, they need to keep Admirable alive. I mean, he's died probably a few too many times. Looking at the stats, Admirable has died 11 times on Gollywash compared to Condom, who's only died 4 times. Condom also has about twice the amount of assists, which I generally, again, like that can be kind of a deceiving stat line, but generally also means that like he's healing the people who are furthest forward. I guess Admirable dying a lot also is going to lend that to himself. But I mean, just kind of I'm kind of curious about who's actually killing him. Let me pull up that. So right now, it looks like it's going to be the Sniper, the Demo, and the Soldier, who have 3, 3, and 2 respectively. Kind of shutting down Admirable there. And I don't know, I mean, keeping himself alive. And I kind of going back to the thing I said is, I think if they just ran Uber Charge for this map, I think that would work fine for them. I don't think they need to go quick fix. I don't think they need to go crits. Like maybe there's that rare situation where you come up, you're dead, you're going to have a disadvantage, you're going to come up, to try to balance it out kind of like on last point, which I think is like a fair time to do it. But I think if they keep it more consistent, I mean, I definitely think they have it in them. I mean, the stats, I mean, yeah, their snipers, Flow is obviously, doing work. Compared to Stack Sniper, but also what's it called? His name's not Null. It's Hard on the Spy is actually double fragging the counter spy of Celic. So kind of as you said, it's kind of balancing out that it's not really that one-sided for TC, but ultimately it's kind of working out that way because TC is just much more consistent of a team. So I think if Stack get their stuff together, if they get a little bit more consistent, I definitely think they'll have a chance, but I think this map's going to be even harder for them to do that when you're going up against a sniper like Flow, and compared to Gullywash, I think this map is probably one of the most sniper-friendly CP maps out there.
Absolutely. I mean, looking at the overall team frags, there was 10 frags in it. There was 138 for Stacked, 148 for TC Ambition, so, there wasn't that much in it. But when you look at the score 3-0, it paints the picture that there has been this kind of domination from Ambition, and they have had them, more last pushes. They have been in control of the game. But I agree. I think Stacked have a foot in this, and they just need to kind of just solidify themselves a little bit better. Just focus. The last couple of mid fights we saw, they did really well. And if they can convert those into pushes. With their team, then they can take this map and force a third map out of this. And with the players that they've got, they're all experienced players. I mean, Admirable has played at the top level of sixes. Duck's played at the top level. Kermit, people like Yaug and Hard and Hexing, they've all played sort of Prem. They've all played at the highest level. They just need to kind of take that moment, just take a breath, gel together, and just say, look, let's just keep things calm. Focus, and we can do this and get pressure on the sniper. I mean, Flo only dying 8 times is kind of a testament to the lack of pressure he was under. And I'm not, he's obviously a very good player, but you need to put players under pressure. You can't let the sniper take the shots. You need to get your spy, you need to get your soldier, your scout, whatever, just putting pressure on them. And if they start to, if Flo starts to die, he's not hitting the shots, then who knows? Stacks might be able to take advantage of that kind of lack of confidence. But at the moment, I would definitely say the cart is moving in the favour of Ambition, and let's hope they don't choke. I mean, let's remember, if anyone watched the high final between the Bureau and TC Ambition, the Bureau actually lost the first map. They lost the first map against TC Ambition, but then Ambition went on to lose the next 2. And it was extremely close, so who knows, that might be playing on their mind. They might be thinking, okay, once again, we're 1 map away from Prem. Let's not screw this up, and that's when people might make mistakes, if they start to get a little bit nervous.
We'll see if TC Ambition can keep the foot on the pedal and go on to this map, or if they're going to struggle a little bit here and let Stacked back in the game, as we're going to come out to our first mid-fight here. And actually, CeeJaey, I've been taking them, so I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, so both demos arrive quite early on, but big jump in from Cryma gets so much damage onto Duck. He is so weak, he's down to 5 HP, he has to wait for Admirable to link up with him, but he does survive. And that's going to be very key, but it's taken a lot of time for Stack to get into position, and Ambition have got good control, but no, Justice and Setsul go down there. Yaug with a great body shot in the middle of the air, and with those 2 heavies down, Celic not being able to get a backstab, it looks like Stack have actually won this mid-fight. They are going to cap it out, and they do have 100%, just checking the medigun, and it is indeed Sigafoo. Quick fix once again from Admirable, and Condom 80%, and he is well far back on second point.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're getting ready to just kind of get back out of here as Duck's pushing in for this one forward. He's going actually into the upper IT area. He found the enemy medic, but he decided to back off, kind of getting back to that final point. I mean, there's no reason for them to, or they can try to like passively contest this, but they don't need to fully commit if they don't want to. They just want to make sure they get Admirable in a good position if they are going to try to contest. It looks like they're going to come out the upper IT side, as the soldier is actually going to do a double bomb in. Hex going in onto Flow, and that's exactly what they needed to do. Takes down the sniper, and that's going to make Admirable a little bit more comfortable to peek around this area.
Yeah, and look how Justice, he is so weak. He's trying to get out. Then he gets caught by Kermit, and Condom is here. He is very weak. He does that 100% Uber. He's been holding on to it, but while he's been holding on to that Uber, his teammate's just been dying, and that was exactly what we saw. Great jump in by Hex there. Put so much pressure on Flake, just killed him. And Ambition didn't really know how to respond to that. And in that time, Admirable has used a quick fix. He's got back down to 0% and he's built it up again. And we're going to see a quick fix versus an Uber push here. And Ambition under pressure already on this first round of this second map, and they've just got to kind of settle themselves here as Stacked are really kind of asserting their dominance in this early stages.
Yeah, they're looking a lot better, kind of like what I would expect out of them out of the first map, and Hex gets a kill onto the Scout there, taking on Shul Kipple. But the Downman actually goes down to Duck, and Admiral is left alone in the lobby area, now meets back up with his Heavy as we meet our first pause of the game. No, maybe that's just a little bit of a stutter, as we have mini sentries on this final point, but both mechs still at 100% quick fix versus Uber. It looks like we are going to get that pause now here, the first one of the game. But, you know, really interesting so far is, I mean, we have not seen an Uber pop out of either medic, correct? But they both have been holding on to 100% since the start of the game, basically.
Admirable did use a quick fix when they was trying to push onto second, and it didn't really work out. But Condom's been, he's still holding. Condom's still using his first. So Admirable has used one quick fix, and he's onto his second now. But yeah, Admirable still hasn't popped. And once again, he's in a kind of position where he's only got 4 players alive on his team. One an NG, one a Pyro, and one is a Spy who is very, very weak. So, I mean, Sinrise is going to have to go absolutely to town here if he's going to keep his medic protected, because we've got Yaug just kind of walking in through door number 3 in lobby. And I don't know, like, Morty here is with Admirable. He's got that quick fix, and I don't know, he could do something here. He could kind of push this in. If more stacked players come in, they've just got to be wary of the stacked spawns. But there was a huge play there from Hard, or Null as he is on ETF2L and in the server now. The Spy for stacked, he got Duck and Setsul and Justice, the 2 combo players for Ambition. So he's already going really ham on this map so far. And you know, cheeky shout out to Beep, who did get a short circuit kill. Sigafoo, I mean, you're an engine man, you must love that weapon. And he was on flow, so everyone's putting pressure on the sniper. We look at Beep, he's already behind in Panic Room. So if you can whack up a mini sentry there, he could put pressure as Hammock can see him. So it's going to be a bit of NG on NG action. But what do you think is going to happen here? Do you think Stacked are going to push, or do you think they're going to kind of change their mind and just kind of wait for respawns?
Yeah, I mean, if I was in this situation right now, just looking at it, right now you have your engineer behind enemy lines. You got, 3 people on the point, plus the Spy. I mean, you definitely could go for it, but I believe I don't know what the respawn wave is back up, but it'd be pretty risky, because if you start to push in and you get caught out with that respawn wave, like, you're going to go down. I think the best thing that they could do right now is get a force off on Condom and then back off and then re-push with that advantage that they would create, but they're not going to take my advice as they're pushing in with the Heavy with the quick fix right now. He's getting a lot of damage in, but it doesn't matter as Admirable gets backstabbed again and the Heavy gets taken out onto the point, and that should prompt a push out of TC here as they now have their medic advantage and only 5 alive here on the blue side, so they should want to push out, and looks like they're going to do just that going to the lobby side.
Yeah, Select there just being patient and got the backstab during the quick fix. Obviously it doesn't keep you invulnerable from anything. That insta-kill coming in, and Justice and Cryma picking up a couple of kills on the flank, just walking through. But no, the backstab comes in from Hard, and he's taking down Setsul again. Setsul is going to be having nightmares about Hard tonight if he doesn't win this game. But it does look like Ambition have control of the second point, but they don't have the caps. And Beep is actually set up. He's onto Flow again. Lands one shotgun, but can't land anymore. And Sinrise keeps his sniper nice and safe. And finally they're getting some cap time on this second, but Stacked, they're going to be getting respawned soon, and they're going to be forward spawns. They've got their combo players coming out onto this midpoint, and it does mean it looks like they're going to be able to defend this midpoint from TC Ambition quite comfortably.
Yeah, if Admirable can there in time, it looks like TC is going to just kind of be a little bit slow there, but I kind of want to go back to that final point, where if Admirable was on Uber charge, I think they would have been able to push in and done pretty well, because they had a numbers advantage. But obviously they were at a medigun disadvantage because you're quick fix versus Uber, and the quick fix didn't really provide them any benefit from pushing onto the second point, because when they pushed in, they already had the Heavy and demo down. They had all the advantage there, so it didn't really provide any benefit. But we'll see what TC wants to do, as it looks like they want to push through this IT side with the Uber charge they're currently holding on to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if this is a good idea from Ambition, kind of pushing through this choke. And the spam, as you can see, is coming in. Setsul gets taken down quite low. And Hard actually just getting forced his dead ring and gets behind. Now Uber is forced. Look how low Condom is. Sorry, Condom isn't low. He picks up a sandwich now, so he's fine. But the Uber's flash that is being used up And it did look like Admirable was the one with the ping problems, but he's now on Kritzkrieg. So he's changed things up a bit, and he's at 90% already. So if they use this, Duck can land some of those stickies. This is going to be huge. This could turn the tide of the round if this lands effectively. And I don't think they're aware of it as the crits do come out. First one doesn't land on the medic. The medic is so far back in PC. Another one comes out, but it isn't going to get any damage and any kills. And Stacked here may be able to get the midpoint. But Duck is just going to get destroyed by just a 7 kill streak, and Ambition just solidify themselves on this midpoint. And Stacked there kind of fell apart. They pushed through that PC area, and it just didn't work out for them. But no, the spy comes in. Condom pressing A and D like mad, and finally Justice gets the kill onto the spy. Condom survives, and he is at 90% Uber now, and probably going to be pushing into this second point.
Yeah, now this is going to be all on Condom as he's sitting at 100% Uber, getting on to the second point. They should be able to think, but Yaug is watching that sight line right now. He's trying to hold against the wall to not get sniped, and looks like the sniper is actually choosing the wrong angle to watch down, as he might have had a snipe onto the medic right here, but he's already back onto that final point. With Fairy down to no, Pyro is going to be up on this final point for the next 6 seconds. But with Uber advantage against crits, like, just figure out where the medic is and just push straight into him. I mean, would you do anything? That's kind of how I'd play this point. I mean, you have an advantage. Like, why not just going off of it right away?
Absolutely. And the longer you hold your Uber, the longer it gets to a point where they might just decide let's crits into them, and you might be caught out in that odd moment of where you might not be concentrating 100%. So I totally agree. They need to just get the intel from their spy, their sniper, anybody who can just have a little scout around and see where the medic's holding. You can see Admirable is actually playing on the floor, quite close to lobby, and the crits does come out, and the first one lands down, the second one takes down Sigafoo, but the Uber has been used, and it is just being forced through by TC Ambition here. Setsul landing the pipes, takes down Duck and Kermit, and the follow-up from Justice is just going to gun people down. They do have a level 3, but it's not watching the entire point, and Setsul finds that sweet point on the final cap, and manages to cap it out. That level 3 was not watching the entire of the point, and that means TC Ambition are 1-0 up on this second map, Sigafoo, and that was unfortunate. I mean, I'm not sure, but Ambition once again in the rise.
Yeah, they are looking to capitalize as they're on to this next point. Hex, the first soldier out, he's directly above Setsul, but he actually gets taken out there by some stickies, and this is looking pretty decent right now for TC, but actually, just I say that Cryma does go down, but Setsul is trying to get a lot of damage out. Admirable caught in a little bit of an awkward spot if anybody's able to capitalize on, but nobody is, as the Devilman now goes down for TC, and looks like the Selec is actually right behind the team, but no, he gets taken out as well by the Pyro, and just a lot of back and forth. Admiral down so incredibly low, he's going to run back and try to get a med pack into the sewer area, but this is such a long fight, but finally it looks like it's going to be TC who's going to win it.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Duck there. He was in such an awkward position, and he was just DMing with such little health. He was getting no heals whatsoever because Admirable couldn't reach him, and somehow he managed to out-DM Setsul with heals. So great play by him, but it all came to naught as Flow headshot Manir as the Uber comes in, and Morty gets dropped in the exchange. The midpoint hasn't actually been captured, and Duck here is kind of deciding what he's trying to do, trying to get some damage. He's getting so much damage onto the to the stacked combo. And does take down Justice, Sinrise has also gone down, so they might have decided to push here. They have lost Morty and Ferry, so it's kind of a swapping situation here, and they elect to just back off, try and defend this midpoint. But with both teams on Uber now, we're going to see maybe some fair exchanges, Sigafoo. No more crits and no more quick fix shenanigans.
And actually, Kermit, I'm sorry, it goes into IT and takes down the medic right there, and that should open it up here for Stack. Looks like they're going to start to get aggressive, but Setsul's going to try to jump in and respond in kind, but it's not able to land any damage onto Admirable. And only 4 alive here on the TC side. They should be able to push through, and it looks like they're going to do that through Choke as well as IT with their flank side, as the Hex is already pushing through, trying to contest Justice, but he meets all that damage and decides to back off. But Duck being the furthest one forward, and that's kind of the problems I've seen with Stack so far, is Duck, he puts out a crazy amount of damage getting countered by that short circuit. I'm sure he loves that. But Duck tends to be, like, overextend, and his team doesn't follow up that damage that he's putting out. Like, I feel like if his team just played a little bit, if Stack played a little bit more closer to Duck, his other damage classes, that might help him out a little bit more. But they do come down with the midpoint and also have 100% Uber 60% advantage, and they're already coming down to the second point.
Yeah, Sinrise here just trying to push people back, but gets gunned down by Morty in the end, and Cryma kills himself somewhere on the flank. And people are dying on both teams here. 4 alive for Stacked after that push, but 4 alive as well for TC Ambition. But it looks like Ambition do have their heavy players kind of just watching this upper PC area. Both meds survived and Comdom is at 90%, but I'm not too sure if this is a good position for him to hold. It's quite aggressive, and they are pushing through to the midpoint, so we're going to see if this works out well for them. If Hex does a big jump in, lands one rocket, doesn't actually hit Condom, he tries to jump away, does survive, back into his own PC, but Admirable's at 60% now, needs to start building that quickly, as Condom is 100%, he's still holding it. We're going to see if this happens, but no, in comes Kermit again, trying to land damage onto the medic, he's getting damage onto everyone, and Yaug takes down Flo, so that is a really big pick. In the scheme of things, as Yaug is uncontested as a sniper now. Admirable practically caught up with the Uber, and Stacked are kind of defending this second point again, but they're in a decent position, and this is very back and forth. This is much closer than we saw on Gully Watch, to be fair.
Now, we're also seeing a lot more stability out of the Mediguns. Admirable, after that first round, has not switched off of a quick fix, which he was initially on. Now he's been on overcharge this entire time. And I think that's going to stabilize the team a little bit here. Is actually the Uber does get popped off from Admiral. I'm not sure. It didn't look like a force, but he does at least get the force off from Condom, who's going to try to push through with the heavy Justice, as well as Setsul, who's going to try to jump in here. Actually, no, he decides to take it a little bit slower. And after the Uber exchange, it'll be interesting to see if TC is going to try to get a little bit aggressive off this, but Sinrise caught in a little bit awkwardly, but decides to back up, but no ducks, no demo man here for Stacked. And I feel like that would prompt a push out of TC, as they do have that demo man advantage, but I guess they're also up by 1 point, so maybe they're going to opt to play a little bit safer than they normally would.
They do take down Hex and Ferry, though. They lose Triple and Sinrise in the exchange. So, yeah, like you said, they're 1-0 up. Ubers are dead on equal, both at 60%. And it gets to that point where you're just kind of thinking, we're 1-0 up, we're 1 map up, let's slow things down, let's, they're getting good picks, Kermit goes down, and Stelik, again using that Enforcer, takes down Yaug, so no sniper for Stack to defend with, and you just kind of think, if we get good picks, then we can push with this. Is Duck, he's caught out here, he's got close to Suet, he's going to get gunned down, and no demo once again for Stacked. Condom went down though, Duck going huge, excuse me, died for it, but took down the medic. But Admirable using his Uber, he's just going to keep it on beep now, as he is the closest person to him. And Stacked maybe thinking about pushing onto this midpoint with their Scout and their NG, just seeing how things are going, but Ambition just playing it passively. Big jump in from Cryma, but the mini sentry stops him from killing Admirable. And this is just kind of not... You don't want to call this a stalemate, because this is back and forth through this choke point. You have no idea which way this is going to swing next.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to swing a little bit in the favor of TC if they can do it correctly. No, here is Hex is going to jump in, get some damage out, but you're right, it is just going very back and forth. Hard trying to get a backstab, but gets taken out by the sniper from behind. And 4 down right now for Stacked right now, and looks like actually Admirable is alone. Nobody's connected up with him, so that's going to prompt the Scout to push in. He's going to chase Admirable through the lobby. Is anybody going to be able to save him, as Shul's going to actually back up, but he's going to be joined by the Pyro, and he actually takes down the Heavy. There you go, Morty not able to stay alive. And yeah, I mean, it's just a really interesting back and forth game, but that last point, Admirable popped Uber on nobody, tried to push him with the Scout and Engineer onto the second point, and I think he was like, oh, we killed the medic, let's pop Uber and like go take ground, but I don't think he realized how he had no damage with him to help push forward. I think if he would have held it and then pushed like 10 seconds later, it would have been much better, but either way, it's for naught, as both medics sitting at 100%, and now it's up to TC. How do they want to push into this final point?
Yeah, and Process is such a hard map to push out from last. I mean, you really need a big advantage to push into here. We look at Cryma and Hammock just coming in through door number 1. They haven't been spotted yet, and the jump is failed by Cryma, unfortunately. But Flo does take down Duck, so no demo for Stacked. It's just going to, once you get on, the Uber's actually forced onto Admirable, and Hex is going to get most of the Uber, and Yao gets the headshot onto Justice. But so much pressure now. Look at the stickies on the point. Players on the point. Look at that Pyro on the point. He just needs to push Ferry away, but no, Ferry comes in, and he's just going to clean up the kills with help from Kermit. Great play by the Pyro for Stacked there. And Stacked somehow cling on. 5 players left alive for Ambition, but they've hightailed it out of there on the second point. Flo goes down very late on. 20-second respawn for him. And Stacked are trying to re-push this and recapture the second point, which is a good decision, as they're keeping the aggression up. Cryma is there, he's going to jump in, lands 1 rocket onto Duck, 2 rockets onto Duck, and Yaug takes him down with the Kukiri there, but Duck goes down, and Stacked aren't going to be able to push out. Oh no, Shikibble is on Admirable. Admirable is so weak, he's 9 HP! Finally goes down to the long range scattergun, and Sigafoo is just getting a little bit messy now.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, Admirable just pushing out a little bit too soon with his team and kind of working against him as he then gets out. I mean, it wasn't wrong for them to push out, but maybe just getting a little bit too aggressive in your positioning and getting punished for that when TC comes back in, because TC, they've just been very aggressive about defending, and right now they're being aggressive about pushing in, as Delman actually is pushing in onto his final point with the paint train, joins up with a scout, times 4 on the point, is able to cap it off, 2-0 in the favor of TC, and Stacked. They got to be feeling pretty bad, right now. I mean, you gotta imagine that mumble, they're just sinking in the pit of their stomachs, because I mean, there is 14 minutes left on the clock. They definitely have a chance to come back, but they can't seem to find the right whatever it is to win a round. As Duck goes down here to the whip early on.
Yeah, it did that really aggressive, fast rollout, taking out the demo, and Stacked aren't bothered about this. They're taking aggression, and Setsul goes down there. Yaug with a good headshot, he's dominating the demo. So no demos for either team. Flo goes down as well, and Stacked look like they are winning this actually, as Ambition are caught out. Kermit's in on the mini-glance, 1-2, takes down Condom, and Stacked here just absolutely destroying this mid-fight. Practically a wipe, as the only person who survived, other than the respawns, was Hammock, and he is already back on last. And Admirable survived, 90% in the bank, and he is running Medigun. And it's like you said, I mean, we're halfway, literally as that round ended, it was the 15-minute point. And you just got to look at yourself. If you're leading, if you're main calling, whatever, if you're in that stacked mumble, you just got to say, look, this is half time. We're halfway through this map. We need to win this half. And then we're through to the third map, we can win that. You just got to keep it in the moment. You don't look at the fact that you're 2-0 down. And this is a great response from Stacked, actually. And if they can convert this into a round very early on, it's going to really put pressure as Cryma jumps in. Doesn't manage to, but he does actually force Admirable. Took him down to 50 HP, and the Uber is going to be pushed in here. Can they get anything from it? They're getting pressure onto the point. Sinrise goes down, but Duck goes down as well. And then your demo is so important in these pushes to try and get some stickies on that point, just to prevent enemy teams from defending it. And Select comes in with a backstab, takes down Admirable, and it's just stunted that push. And it looks like Ambition may be able to push out here and take second point again.
Medic doesn't have Uber charge yet. They're about even numbers, so it'd be maybe a little bit on the risky side. So it looks like they're going to opt to kind of maybe passively try to just see if they can get something on the second point. But right there again, I mean, kind of what I was talking about before, whereas Duck is just getting a little bit either too far ahead of his team, or his team is not getting aggressive enough with him. I mean, the Uber charge came in, he goes, okay, I'm going to go do a suicide or try to get onto that final point, and then he jumped in by himself. And you're not going to do anything like that. Whose fault it is kind of hard to say exactly. But ultimately, you can't do that. You can't go as a demo man. Your life is way too important, especially in a final push, to go and push it by yourself. As Condom's sitting at 100%, they're peeking from this lobby side. They're trying to figure out how do they want to push this. Admirable has to be careful not to overextend. As he's sitting at 50%, Uber does finally come off onto Setsul, who's going to push in, and he's going to trap Admirable right there. He takes him down, and the Pyro goes down as well. Duck goes down too, and there you go. This is going to prompt a push out onto the second point. Really nice job, but Admirable just kind of awkward positioning out of the combo classes.
Yeah, I was going to commend Duck and Hex there. They could see, obviously the call came in from where the Ambition combo was, which was in the lobby area, and they were spamming it. They were, shooting rockets, shooting pipes, making sure they wouldn't be able to come through for free. And the Uber was used, but the rest of the Stacked team wasn't in a good position to kind of react to that. I mean, you want your spam classes, your soldier, your demo, to kind of spam and force the Uber, and then you want the rest of your team to be at a safe distance so you can get out and then counter that push later on. But as it was, they just got wiped, and it turned out, Ambition lost a few players in the end. But Setsul has gone down here. Admirable only at 50%. Condom's going to have his Uber very, very soon. So it's probably going to be a saving grace there that Setsul's gone down in this position. But Stacks is just walking in. They want to get something out of this. Duck is getting damage down onto Justice. He is so weak, and the Uber is actually forced. And that is a really, really good play there. But Admirable is in so deep. He manages to back out. And look at Beef, just on the point, going balls deep, but doesn't manage to get anything. But 4 players left alive. They have used the Uber. Kermit's in. He takes down the Engineer. They're just going to flood the point. They've got to get some cap time. 2 players left alive. One of them is, well, the last player left alive is Flo. And he's not going to be able to do anything against 4 players. And that is a round on the board, Sigafoo. 11 minutes to go. Can Stacked claw this back and force a third map?
And I mean, I definitely think they can. That is exactly, that final push in particular, the start of this round and the end of that round was exactly what Stack needs to do, is that use smart aggression. And they're like, okay, both medics don't have Uber, we're at an Uber disadvantage, let's just send people in, let's just go for it and see what we can get out of it. And it worked out great. They had the Pyro in a great position, got a bad Uber forced off, Beep got into Panic Room, was able to take it off as we're into this next mid-fight. We'll see if it lasts as long as the last one. But right now, Stack, they got to be feeling really confident, and I love the aggressive play style that they're setting up right now. Though the heavy does down, Soldier's actually going to bomb and take that down. Admirable only 2 alive here, so maybe just a little bit bad in their positioning, as we have 8 alive here on the defense, and it's just Duck, and he's probably going to be taken out, but he's going to try to take down Condom as he goes, and he does get the force off, so that is a wipe, but at least they're going to have about even Ubers.
What a well-placed pipe there by Duck. I mean, it was kind of a last-ditch effort to do something, and that's the best he could have hoped for. Getting that force out, which means by the time Admirable spawns, it's only going to be about 10-15% in it. So that gives Stack a really good chance. They're not going to be able to defend this second point at all. Hex tried to go to 20-second respawn for his efforts. But I really like Morty there. He got on top of the point. That's what I like to see the heavies do. Get control of the high ground. Have your heavy, your soldier up there. So, you know, Morty just walked across the point. Got so much damage down onto Justice, but was just so close to taking him down before he got backstabbed. And maybe if he had a little bit more support from the rest of his team, that mid-fight would have worked out well for them. But as it is, they are 25% behind here. And the med went down to a backstab, so Condom's not gone down again, and Stacked they're back in this game, Sigafoo. They've got the bit between their teeth, and they're just moving it forward, and they're going to recapture this second point.
And I love how they're recapturing this second point. Is they had everybody spread out, they're pushing together. There's not just Duck, who's the first one forward, and then you have like people way behind him. They had everybody kind of matching the team's aggression, and Hard with a beautiful backstab dropping down onto the medic. And giving Admirable now 100% Uber advantage, as just right now Condom is getting back up. I'm sorry, he's not getting back up, he's up to 30%. I had that read wrong, but either way, they should be able to push onto this next point. And Condom is in a really nice spot too. He's sitting right outside of IT, waiting for the push to come in so he can back out, get out safely, and potentially re-push in, but they do see the sticky trap. It does take down Kermit, but that's not going to stop them from popping in. Can they be able to get anything with this next Uber push?
Now you see the response the Ambition players had there. They saw the Uber and they were in a position where they could back out, and now they're coming back in now that the Uber's over. This is a really good response to them. Duck's gone down, but there is a level 3 sentry from Beep on the midpoint. He's in that rescue ranger to keep it alive. And they do not have anyone capping the midpoint as it is, but if anyone gets onto that central area, they are going to be hit by the sentry. And players are just bleeding here. Yaug is just reeling off a couple of headshots. Takes down CeeJaey, and then he takes down Condom. He's on a 4-kill streak. And he also takes down Setsul as well. 2 players left alive before the respawns come in. That's Justice and Flow. We've had to back off onto the second point. They were so weak. And Stacked are going to get this midpoint. And Flow went down so late there. 20-second respawn for him. And looks like Stacked, they're just walking onto. Look at Cryma. He's underneath Admirable. No one's dealing with him. And that was really poor. No one checked for the hiding soldier underneath. But he does actually manage to back off, still alive. Gets taken down by Hex in the end. But 100% Uber Sigafoo for Admirable. And they could convert this into a round. They could tie things up here.
Yeah, so we'll see if they can. I mean, they definitely should get going. It looks like they're going to do just that. They only have 2 going into this final point. Can they get anybody to join up with them? The demo actually gets dropped in that Uber push. It's just Hex who's going to go up into the Panic Room with the help of the Scout who's going to push underneath. We've got the Heavy pushing up on this far-hand side, but the level 2 Sentry Gun is onto the point, defends that against the Soldier now. And actually, Admirable went down to a headshot from Flow, so now it's going to be the Heavy who's going to try to peek onto this point. Still no damage being dealt onto him. Yes, he does cap it! Nobody saw the Heavy, the biggest man in the game, sneaks the cap. And there you go, 2-2. And this is getting a little bit feisty. I mean, we got to see, can TC pull it out now? Because, wow, Stacked is looking good right now.
Once again, we saw a sentry that wasn't covering that little corner, and no one else was spamming it, no one else was defending. We had some sentry on sentry action there. 2 level 3s going at it, but the demos come to the next midpoint. Dark is very weak, and he does go down. Shakipple getting the cleanup kill there. But Stacked is still walking forward. They're taking the high ground. They're walking forward. And they're getting cap time on the point. It's Beep just teasing the point a little bit there. Big jump in from Cryma, then gets reflected by Ferry and goes down. And 3 players down for both teams. And Ambition are trying to stay in here. And this is a very long mid-fight, but it does look like Stacked are going to cap it out. They are in a position. They have got the ground. And somehow Ambition are just crumbling now. 4 players, 3 players alive. Condom's at 100%. He's only got Setsul for company. Is this a really good idea to try and contest this? Big jump in, but oh, what a pipe! Was that a pipe or was that just a mini sentry? To me it looked like a pipe.
think it was a
straight in the face. Great shot there by Setsul. But they have given up this point now. Good idea, I think, from Condom and his demo man. And Ambition need to just change things around here. Just to maybe just get some flow back into the game, no pun intended, but get their players just back up into the hype they had before.
Yeah, and they are starting out to an Uber exchange as Doug did go down, got on a 20-second respawn, still down for another 10 seconds, so no demo man to contest them as they're pushing into this, but just the Heavy, who's the first one forward, and Kermit's actually going to catch out the medic, as well as the Heavy coming through the sewer side, as they did not clear that out when pushing into that middle point. TC just getting a little bit ahead of themselves, kind of the problems that Stack were having, where they just were getting a little bit forward by themselves, and now it's working out in the favor of Stack, as they're now onto the second point, after that seemingly successful push by TC.
Yeah, we just approached the 5-minute point there. Stacked have the point. They have 50% in the hands of Admirable just as Condom spawns, so he is not going to have Uber in time by the time Stacked have it, and Kermit really is just turning it on now. I mean, I don't know what he's taken since the last map, but he is really just destroying things. Yaug there takes down Flo, and Hammock with the big rescue ranger takes down Duck. So that's going to maybe slow things down a little bit as Stacked are bleeding a few players. So that's going to slow down their push. This is really good. But look at Yaug. Oh, lands a headshot onto a Cryma, but then a bit too aggressive, so Justice cleans him up. But things are... Ambition just looking a bit shaken here. I mean, you know, you've won your first map. You're 2-0 up on the second. You just need to slow things down and take control. And it does look like they are going to get Uber in time to defend this point by the time Stacked decide to maybe push, but they really need to just calm things down and start to get back into this game.
Looks like they're going to do the exact opposite of that. If they're going to push into the second point, Justice, the first one forward for his team, connected with Condom, who's down to half HP, actually able to connect back up, but actually Fairy finds him, catches him out, but Sinrai is able to help out his medic there and keep him alive, but now Condom is dancing for his life, trying to get out through drop down, but I'm sorry, not drop down, that's roll out, and he is able to get out alive with the help of his team. Only 5 alive here, 6 alive on the Stacked side, as the Uber exchange did come out in the favor as Admirable, as he's about 15% up, but Selleck is sitting right above Admirable, and he wants to make a play. He's going to try to do that right now. He's going to... Oh, no! Hard catches him out as Cryma takes down Hard just for that. And we'll see if Cryma can... Yep, Cryma does it right there. Again, the soldier, the hidden soldier on a 4K. Can he be killed? Finally does, but that's going to boost TC and potentially to push out on that second point.
Yeah, I mean, Ferry and Admirable are going to be up in 5 seconds. And, you know, if I was Ambition right now, I'd be wanting to move forward. They do have control of lobby. This is good. Setsul is the furthest one forward. He needs his team to start backing him up a little bit. He's quite low HP. He's under 100. And, you know, he needs his team to be walking out. They're taking the spam. And look at Yaug. He's just watching here. He's waiting for someone to peek out of rollout so he can land a shot. But things are just waiting, and they're not getting the position, and they're not getting the cap time as Justice comes through. And Setsul, he might get dropped here. No, he doesn't. The Uber comes in. Both combo players are very weak, but Selleck came in with that Enforcer once again, takes down Admirable. 3 players left alive. Actually, it's just Yaug left alive on mid now. He's being chased by Selleck, and Ambition need to get cap time. I mean, come on. You want to stop those forward spawns, but they can't. And actually, Stacked here, a little bit of mistake from Ambition, I feel, as they're going to get 5 forward spawns, so they're going to be up well in time to defend mid as Condom went down in all of that chaos. I missed how it happened, Sigafoo, but Admirable with an advantage again.
Yeah, Fairy, right after Admirable went down, Fairy was in a nice spot and just was right behind Condom, popped him up in the air, a little poof and shoot, and that's exactly what he did, taking him down and giving the advantage back to Admirable. It's only about, what, 20% right now, which is pretty much the smallest amount of Uber advantage that you can push off of. You have to do it pretty much right away, and it looks like they want to get aggressive. No engineer or spy for this final defensive side, so we'll see if TC can do it. As again, a reminder, we are down to 1 minute and 44 seconds. Everything is on the line right now as they don't want to take this into overtime. I'm guessing that Admirable wants to push in and they want to finish this off. They want to go up 3-2 and take this into the final map, and I gotta imagine the pressure is being felt by both teams right now.
Yeah, 1 minute and 30 left in the game. Basically, if this is the decider as Flo gets a clutch headshot there, but the Uber comes in really early. 1 rocket, 2 rockets, takes down Condom. He's not going to get his Uber in time, and Hex is just laying down the damage, and Kermit is cleaning up. That mini sentry is going to have to do the work of its life to defend this point now, as there are only 5 players left alive for TC Ambition. 1 minute approaching on the clock. They are going to have Uber advantage, and they probably will have an advantage again if they just sit back and build. And that was exactly what they needed to do there. They just focused the medic, got the medic down, and just Setsul goes down. That's not... you don't want to be getting that aggressive Setsul in this position. You can't push out, and Stacked aren't going to wait for their Uber. They're just going to be walking in now, getting some damage onto the point. If they cap this, that is it. That is the second map going to Stacked. And they are just focusing the point, and no one's going to stop them. Stacked are just going to walk onto it and take Process 3-2, turning around a 2-round deficit, Sigafoo. That's going to be heartbreaking for TC Ambition, and already their minds just must be on steel.
Yeah, I can't believe what I'm watching here right now. Stacked looked just deplorable for those first 2 rounds, and now they have just picked it up, and they're doing exactly what they need to do. Admirable looked a little bit, or the last round, Admirable died maybe a couple too many times, but it doesn't matter, as they're able to take out the final point. Really nice push, but actually really poor play out of TC in particular, is they back out to the panic room, which wasn't the worst idea for that final push, you know, to have your combo back out to the panic room, but you also need to have someone be watching the point, and then also having the Demoman Setsul go into lobby trying to get some extra damage out, when in that situation, like, you have 30 seconds left out, you're not going to take the second point. There's no way that you're going to do anything but just try to defend and put it into overtime. And I think maybe not aware of the game situation, what he needed to do in that moment, which, I mean, it's the heat of the moment. All the pressure's on the line. Sometimes it's easy to forget the basic stuff. Catches himself out, and that might have been one of the turning points for that final push, is not to have a demo man on it, which I think caused the medic to get really defensive back into panic room.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've summed it up there. 1 minute left, 1 minute 30, you've got an Uber disadvantage. That's when you want your medic to be far back, well protected. He was at 80-85%. Condom was so close, but he was close, in the other sense of the word, to the door. And Uber Hex just came in and took him down with 2-3 rockets. You want him in a position where your team, your Pyro, your Heavy, is going to deny that jumper, is going to deny that, the attempt to take your medic down. And if only, he was maybe a little bit further back, if, his team were in a better position, he would have survived, he would have got his Uber and arguably kept his team alive, in order to hold on to that point. But that could have all been salvaged, because Stack didn't keep in, they didn't maintain that pressure, they backed out, they were thinking, let's keep Admirable alive, repush when we got 100% Uber, we're going to have an advantage, because Condom's just gone down. But instead, like you said, they were in panic room, and if your demo's down, you can't be in panic room, you can't have people there, because you've got no stickies on the point. If you've got no stickies on the point, you have to have a physical presence on that point to, stop people wanting to walk onto that point. And as it was, Stacked, their eyes just almost just lit up as they walked through that door. Saw nobody on the point, fine, let's just walk on the point and cap it. And by the time you're Heavy and all of that has dropped down onto the point, it's too late. But that turnaround, I mean, at 15 minutes, halfway through the map, TC Ambition were 2-0 up, and like we said, was so close to booking a point, booking their place into Prem. But as it is, Stacked have just done the impossible. 3 rounds on the trot to take it, and we're going to be moving on to Steel. Just looking at the logs, highest damage was Duck once again, out-damaging Setsul by just a tiny amount. But frags-wise, it's both the snipers doing work. Flo at 27, Yaug on 25, and Shokipple there, the scout, on 25 as well. He's also doing work on this map, and the thing is, we've seen 2 very similar maps, Sigafoo. How do you think these players are going to have to change their mindset to play a map that that everybody loves or hates, which is Steel?
Yeah, I mean, Steel. I mean, of all the maps to be played, for a grant, like for the tiebreaker, it has to be Steel. One of the most unique maps that is played in Highlander, probably the most unique map, as it's not a traditional payload, it's not a traditional CP map. It's kind of a little bit of everything, and kind of the worst of everything and the best of everything all at the same time. And it's kind of interesting to see how teams will play this. And this is also, I believe this will be a best of 3 format. So it won't be just who wins the first round, but I believe it should be, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it'll be the best of 3 for this map, CeeJaey?
Yeah, it's a best of 3. So it'll be the first kind of, one team will set a time, and the other team will try to beat that time. That is one round. So we'll be seeing that at least twice. So we'll have a 0 or a 2-1 scoreline. So I mean, my hopes of getting to bed by now have been thrown out the window. So I'm gonna have a stern word with TC Ambition for not finishing off that map. But it does mean we're gonna have 3 maps in this relegation playoff, and the pressure, I mean, just must be on on Ambition now. I mean, Ambition were high flying. They were, when you've won 5 rounds in a row, you've got a map in your back pocket, you're happy, and you look like you're going to close out the second map. You just need to not make any mistakes. And to have that kind of turn, the morale in the stacked Mumble will just be through the roof right now. And, surely that's going to give them an advantage coming into this next map.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're going to be happy, confident, and I mean, especially not just to like win it like it's a back and forth match, and then you just were the one to win the final round. You lost the first half, you lost the first map and the first half of the second map, and then you turn it around to go 3 straight to beat them out in the final seconds to take it to the third map of your choosing. I definitely think they're going to be flying high right now, but it'll be interesting. As you said, Steel. It's definitely an interesting map in how it's going to be played. And I don't know. I'm trying to remember like if I've seen Stacked play it before, or if we're going to see TC or how they're going to play on it. But I'm trying to think about like who it's going to be in the favor of, because I think with the last map, basically what happened is, so the first round, they had Stacked. So Stacked lost the first round of the last map and they started the medic on quick fix. And I think that was their undoing. Because they weren't able to get that final push off. They were counter pushed into. The second round, their medic switched off to Uber, and then every round after that, their medic kept really consistent on Uber, and it like worked out immensely to their favor, because I think the DM fighting is winning ultimately. Or I mean, it's very close, but I don't know. It's just something about stats. I'm looking at the stats, and almost everybody's next to each other, but it just feels like they're getting that many more kills. Actually, the hilarity, I'm looking at this right now, is Stacked has 4 less kills than TC, yet they won that game. But they actually have 5,000 more damage. That's actually a really interesting stat line. I don't know if you see that. But I guess I don't know if I've ever seen it. You have less kills, but you have 5,000 more damage. Not just like 100, 5,000 more damage. But it also might kind of hint itself to the passive style that TC's gone into, where I think they're just being a little bit too safe. And I think once they got up, they kind of got, you get into that park the bus mentality. It kind of works against you. And I think Stack really capitalized off that with their hyper aggression. And I'm kind of excited to see, but this map also, you can't just be hyper aggressive. You have to play smart. You have to rotate well, have to have good comms. And so we'll see if TC can have a calm enough Mumble to be able to talk to themselves and talk themselves up to be able to compete in this map.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a totally different style of map. It is a map, like you said, the rotations are so important. I mean, I've seen enough Steel to last me a lifetime. I really, really didn't want to have. I mean, an hour of Steel in our final, it can go on for a long time, and it can be back and forth, and it's really hard to decide the way the flow of the match is going at times, because it can take a while to capture, because the A point, for those of you watching who maybe haven't watched Steel as a map before. In the competitive scene, generally A point is just left. You don't try to defend it. There's no point. It's very, very difficult to defend. You focus on B, but the E point, which is the main point, can be capped at any time, and that's the ultimate goal, to capture that E point. You can cap it straight away, or you can wait until you've captured other points. But the more points that you cap as the attacking team, the faster your respawns become, to the point where you get instant respawn when you die. And the longer, the harder it becomes for the other team to defend, because their spawn doors get blocked off and things like that. So it's interesting to see the different styles of teams playing it. I mean, stereotypically, we talk about kind of the Russian style, where we saw, Russia and Ukraine in the Nations Cup in the summer doing this kind of strat where they'll cap A and B. They'll cap A and then they'll just go straight for E. And some teams like to do that. Other teams like to do just, the A, B, C, D, E push. People call it, I think High GPS calls it the vitamin push or something, the alphabet push. But yeah, you try to just go through things, one by one, capture each point. And that's why it's quite hard to judge, watching a game, or even when you're playing a game. It might have taken you 4 minutes to capture the B point. You're thinking, oh damn, this is taking us a long time. But then you can capture C, D, and E in a heartbeat, and your time ends up being 5 or 6 minutes. And you think, oh, actually, that's not too bad. And it's kind of, it can flip on, it can flip. It's like a flip of a coin. If you win an Uber fight, as either side, it can really turn the tide in this game. So it'll be interesting to see the strats coming out of Stacked. It seemed they were using Medigun a lot more later on in process, and it seemed to work out for them. My team, we used crits at times on this map. Defensively, quick fix can be quite good if you're dying a lot and you just want to keep your team alive. If you're getting a bit desperate and you're not going to get that advantage, I don't know. What do you think, Sigafoo? I mean, do you think we're going to see any crazy medgun shenanigans out of these teams?
Well, given what we saw in the previous round, it's very possible that we might. But it's kind of one of those funny things where it's like kind of coming like the difference between NA and EU. I think NA tends to be much more like only Medigun. You'll see. I mean, even in like Koth maps, it's not too common to see Kritzkrieg out. And actually, I was kind of going to ask you about that because I was kind of interested to understand like what the strategy. Every single round, you guys went to 3 rounds, and it just never seemed to be like very effective. But also, I'm kind of curious of like what the strategy was behind, or like what was the thought process going into it, and did you think it was effective? Like maybe it was something like I didn't kind of pay attention to.
The basis of that was basically we have Emilio Estevez as our heavy, our main caller, and he used to play on the team Kill Switch, and they used to run crits on steel, and it was effective for them. And it was just his idea. The plan behind it is that you run crits, you use it on the B point, you force them to use their Uber, or if the best case scenario you get a drop or something like that. But the idea is you at least force the Uber, and then you back off, you keep your men alive, and then you're going to get crits before they get Uber, because crits inherently builds faster than Uber. And then you push in again with the crits, hopefully take down the medic, take down the key classes, and if you take down enough people, you can roll it. And after capturing the B point, that's when you, at the first possible chance, change back over to Uber, and you should then be an advantage for the rest of the game. That's the idea. It has worked, but Chess Club are an extremely good team on Steel. They've used it as a map before in the past. They used it in last season's final as well. So it didn't quite work out for them, but we'll see what these teams decide to do. We do see Admirable on the attacking team stacked here, running the Uber, so no crits out of them. But yeah, so we'll have stacked in the blue, trying to capture points as quickly as possible. TC Ambition in the red, trying to defend, and then we'll swap over with TC Ambition trying to beat the time. And TC Ambition here, Sigafoo, they're doing a hold that kind of my team did, a few days ago in the final, quite aggressive with their sniper looking through this window, just trying to get a cheeky snipe on anyone who's deciding to go through.
Yeah, and looks like the sniper's actually backing off already. Flo is, as Hard the Spy is sitting in that drop-down area, just watching the medic, giving the calls to his team, sitting on that cloak and dagger, as Selk is doing the exact same thing on the A point. Beep is on mini sentry guns, which is a little bit... I think the EU scene is a lot more heavy to level 3s, but we'll see what we're going to do. Is Kermit's going to jump in here with the bonk, going to take away that distraction, as Fairy's going to try to drop in. He looks like he wants to, as comes right below him, but he decides not to. The step does come down on the sentry gun, it gets taken out very easily. Counter Uber comes off from both teams, as it looks like Justice is going to hold forward and stop his team from getting it, but the scout Kermit is right behind the enemy team, but oh, he eats the pipe. What a pipe, and already a level 1 gun back up, and Justice somehow wins that 1v1, but he goes down trying to get away.
Yeah, a lot of people died there for stacked, but Admirable is up, but no, Setsul wins the pipe duel there, takes down Duck, and Admirable backs off. And that's okay. I mean, Condom there gets a little body shot onto him, but manages to survive. And just look how far TC Ambition are now compared to where they were before. They're so far back. They got their sentry really, really far back. It's just a level 2. And that's just giving so much space for stacked. Look at Morty. He's taking this high ground. Look at Duck. He's able to get free spam. He gets a huge sticky onto Condom, who has to surf it away. And it's just a DM battle now. It's stacked in a really, really good position, just walking forward with Justice and Cryma down. They're in a really bad position. Uber comes out, and Admirable's at 90%. He doesn't actually have it yet, and he's in the corner. He's going to take one stick. He surfs it away. Can he land another one? Can he jump onto the sandwich? Admirable, can he get that Uber? He is so weak, 9 HP. No one's just tickle him. No, he manages to survive, and he gets the sandwich and survives. And Condom in the turn goes down to Hard, who also takes down Flo. Sigafoo, just touch him and he would have died. I mean, that was so close.
Yeah, I mean, I would have almost been tempted as a demo man just to run up with my melee and just try to destroy him, but maybe he didn't realize how low it was. But yeah, I guess Admirable is adverse to the tickles, as Condom is just coming back up right now, but Admiral sitting at 100%, so not only did he not die, but he also never popped his Uber in that whole sequence, so they should be able to just take this C point if they wanted to right away. Condom sitting on the back side of it so he can get out once they do pop in. and they're just kind of playing passively right now, putting out some stickies just to try to slow them down, as Flo does win that sniper duel. So that's give him some free range here. And it's kind of odd. I'm surprised Stacked isn't already in yet, but they just haven't been able to figure out how do they want to push this with 5 players sitting onto this C point. Are they just going to opt to go for an E push as Duck does take down the sentry gun? How does Stack want to push this? Their advantage is going away quickly.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to scope out what the situation is. And Ambition have their players in good positions. They have high ground. They have control of this C point, and E seems to be under control as well. They have Hammock there, but oh, look at Hardy just sapping that sentry, and Yaug is helping him. But they have kind of some sort of control as the push comes in onto C. Duck is on the point, and they're just waiting for that Uber. But Ambition do have that Uber now. Admirable hasn't popped that Uber he saved so beautifully earlier. Question is that are Ambition trying to defend this, or are they just going to go back into spawn? Looks like they're going to go back up, and yeah, they're just deciding to leave it. I mean, I suppose that's a good decision, because the best case scenario, you're just going to trade Ubers, and they've got this high ground onto D now. And I mean, that's not a bad time. It's not a great time for the first 3 points, but you can actually get the most of your time holding these last 2 points if you hold it correctly. If you retain control of what we call kind of this lobby, the white room area, and make sure no one does any pressure from BC connector, that's the best way to kind of defend this. And yeah, I mean, it's still up in the air where this can go.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they didn't try to defend that with Uber, but at the same time, I think you're correct when it's that there's kind of why take the risk when you can just why not trade Ubers inside of lobby versus trading in C? You could have retaken the point potentially, but right now Admirable just trying to work in their sniper, trying to see if he can get a pick anywhere, but nobody's peeking him besides Flo actually, who's right by the med pack area. I don't know if he's spotted. Yes, yaug. He is able to take down Flo, and that's going to open up as they don't have to worry about that sniper anymore. Engineer goes down, or still alive, but his sentry gun goes down. Hard's going to chase him down into the corner. Hammock trying to win that battle actually gets a one hit onto him as the Uber does come off onto the Demoman onto the point, but Condom holding on to 100% Justice in a really nice spot right now, and Admiral is just going to have to run back with his tail between his legs to keep himself alive.
Look at Dark, he just walked in there and just casually pipes the sentry down, and Hammock can do nothing about it, but Stacks are trying to re-push this now. But great control here by Ambition. They're just in the right position to stop any sort of push there, and the Uber is finally used by Condom, so that's going to give an advantage to Admirable, about 30%. They're trying to hold this BC connector, which is really dangerous, because you get a Pyro there, they can just air blast, but Morty wins the heavy duel against Justice, and they start to put some more pressure. The medic is trying to get away. Condom, he's going to have to run into a sticky, which takes him down, and this is going to be a huge advantage now that we've got simultaneous caps going down. D is being capped at the same time as E. But that level 2 up in the corner by Hammock is just watching that E point, and it's stopping anyone from just walking on there and capping it. So Morty's trying to think about it, he's trying to get an angle onto it, and Flo is actually just watching as well. So nobody wants to walk onto that point with a level 2 and a sniper watching as Pete just tries to and gets knocked off the ledge into the pit. So yeah, I mean, Stacked are in a good position here, but they need to actually follow through and take the ground.
Yeah, and Hammock down incredibly low. He should go down, though. Duck falls into the pit! The person who can defend or easily take out the gun falls into the pit trying to take it out. I guess that's one way to outsmart a demo man there. As Admirable sitting at 100%. Looks like they're going to... How do they want to push this? Admiral alone, actually, on the dispenser. I don't know if this is a miscommunication with the team. Morty already walking onto the C point. Cryma is actually behind the enemy team. He's actually already onto the B point. So we'll see if he can make a flank play as Selic is watching the enemy team hard. Is going to try to make a play onto the gun. Does take it down 1v1 against the scout, but they're just trying to figure out where do they want to push from. It looks like they're going to go through this C connector and onto the D point as the scout's putting a little bit of time up here. And are they going to actually get a... Looks like they're going to get a nice flank here with this Uber pop.
Yeah, but... oh, the draw! Oh, wow! Justice taking down Morty there. He gets dropped and the Uber is forced, and Condom's at 99%! Finally gets it! He must have been holding that mouse 2 down like a rock, and Duck is surely going to die here. So many Uber players. And finally goes down. Admirable getting cleaned up by Shukipple. And somehow Stacks there just wasted 100% advantage. I don't know. I mean, they decided to rotate around from BC to try and go through C to cap D, but it took them so long that Condom practically got his Uber, and with Morty getting dropped before the Uber even happened, you've put yourself in a bad position, and somehow Ambition are just still in control, looking at Hex, trying to just cause a little bit of hassle in this white room area. But Ambition comfortable at the moment. I'd say they are 80%, 50% advantage over Admirable, and Stacked need to think of something different to make this work.
Yeah, it was just a really baffling series of events. I mean, dropping the heavy in that circumstance as well, I think it was just probably like the worst thing that could happen, because that heavy had the drop on Condom. He could have easily taken him out. He's in such a good spot. An Admirable just Ubered on him. I think they would have been taking it, but here we go. Short Circuit Engineer on the final point. They had ×3 onto it. Now it's just Beep as they're trying to get some aggression through this A-hand side. The teleporter's over there, which took all the team there, but it kind of also makes it a choke point. So ×2 is the combo going to try to contest this. They do pop the Uber off, but the Soldier doing a nice job trying to keep him in. Hex is actually going to fall into the pit here for his troubles, and Beep trying to do the short circuit, but not good as he gets flanked by the Soldier. And the defense of the E point, though, half the time on it, and it might open up for the lobby to be pushed into, because Kermit is trying to WM1, but not able to get enough damage onto Condom, who is in a little bit of a precarious spot, and on fire as well, but able to get that full med pack, and kind of back to where we started here.
Yeah, I mean, Hammock's got back into a position now to get a level 1, which he's trying to build up to watch this final point, which it puts him in a good position. And, you know, with an Uber advantage, or at least equal Ubers, you just have control. You don't have to do anything aggressive. You just need to hold. And this choke point here coming in through A, but they're not spamming it really effectively. But finally, Duck does go down. But meanwhile, in the background, Hard, using his revolver, takes down Hammock and saps the sentry. So he's actually done a lot of work there on that E point, making sure there isn't a sentry. And they've got a level 3 beat with a level 3 in this connector. But the Uber's used really early, and finally used on Justice. He's quite low HP. And it's just going to be solo. The sentry is going to go down. And the Ubers have been traded, but that's it. But the repush with the conch, Hex uses it, takes down Setsul, takes down Justice as well, and he's either going to get more kills. He's got so much damage. Great play by him. Flo goes down, Sinrai goes down. Absolute destruction there. Somehow Condom escapes, and he's got Shikopi for company, but only 4 players, 3 players. No, he gets destroyed as well. And Stacked with an amazing repush there on the back of Hex's conch there, might have won them the round as they are stacking this E point.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen that happen before, of an Uber exchange right into a Kong play, and it worked so beautifully as they got times for on to the point they got multiple people. I think was that 5 people just covering the spawns. Sunrise is going to try to make a play here. Last-ditch effort onto the E point. Is there anybody going to see him? He's going to get the air blast, gets an engineer. He gets the pyro popped up, but no, he goes down. The dream was real. Here comes the Scout and Demo Man. They're going to go down. Times 4 onto the point. The point is going to go down in the favor of Stack. Now the question is, what time did they set? 10 minutes and 15 seconds is what they're going to have to defend, and that is not a very good time.
Yeah, I mean, a rule of thumb for me is if the minutes is in double digits, then you're not going to be happy. I mean, whether you're playing on payload or gravel pit or steel, you know, if it's double digits, you're not in a happy position at all. But especially in this situation, you know, you're probably looking at a 6-7 minute time is comfortable. 8 or 9 minutes, you wouldn't be, you know, too chuffed about. So I mean, Ambition have got plenty of time to play with. I think Stacked kind of fluffing a couple of pushes. They took so long to push onto C, and then from C it took them a while to work out how they were going to push D and E. They skipped the D point in the end, and that repush was really good. I mean, they came in, they had a level 3 there, which in the end didn't actually do anything. Justice took it down with the counter Uber, but kind of they traded Ubers and then repush with the conch, which was a really good move. And you know, taking down those players, and the respawns are so long at that point. For the defending team, it just made it very difficult for Ambition to get back into this. But slightly more passive holding here from Stack. They have to move forward now, and Duck is using that loose cannon, trying to get a couple of double donks down at the choke area. And it's just interesting to see how TC are going to do this, whether they do any suicide waves, whether they try for a different push from behind. As Hex is actually trying to defend this A point, just landing some rockets, just annoying them, and the reflex are coming in from Sinrise, as this is kind of dead time, as Duck does go down, and Admirable drops to the backstab, and that's just going to open the door for Ambition to make the push.
Yeah, they're going to do just that. Demo Man leading the charge. Level 3 Sentry Gun does get popped up, but oh no, Beep eats the pipe, trying to leave the last-ditch effort, and that's going to kind of hurt them coming into the C point, as Admirable just coming up right now at about a 15% disadvantage, but at least the slow doors onto the C point might help them out, as Admirable coming around. They're going to go into that B connector area, but this B point coming down in, what, about like a minute or so? That's an incredibly great time with 9 minutes left on the clock for TC to work with.
Absolutely, and they are going to have a smallish, like about 20% advantage. Admirable holding in this kind of this BC connection. You do not want to be holding in this place. Look at Shikobi. He's got to manage. He's getting damage onto Admirable. Finally goes down. But where they were holding just now, I don't think that's a good idea. You don't have the bridges out. I mean, the bridges don't get extended until you've captured the C point. So up until this point, the only classes you can really get onto the point are, you know, a pyro with the power jack, a scout, a soldier, and a demo. Look at Duck! Oh, Duck falls into the pit. This is what I'm talking about. Look at Sinrise. He's in the perfect position. People can just take this ground, and if anyone tries to contest the doorway, Sinrise just presses mouse 2, and he gets free into the pit. You know, he gives the pit what it needs, and that is kills. As the rest of the team just go on to the C point, and they're going to cap this. And it's what an air shot from Cryma, just as Hex tries to come in. And this is good momentum from Ambition so far.
That was a really confusing hold out of Stacked Gaming on defense there, is where they're holding in B connector, then they like went to under, they lost Duck, and then like they're in a position where if they actually just went to the C point, they might have been able to actually hold it, as both mechs do have 100%. They're going to meet each other onto this D point. We're going to see which Uber is going to get popped off of first. Set is actually going to get popped on. He's just before he goes down, so a little bit better Uber to the defensive side. Heavy actually trying to put out some nice damage. Morty might be able to catch out Condom, who's going to try to get out onto this final point. He's trying to surf away onto the E point. He's going to get out alive. No, Hard is going to meet him on the other side, taking him down, keeping an Admirable did stay up in that, so that's going to give a nice Uber advantage here to the defense, but Selleck is right behind Admirable. He wants to make a play, but Admirable actually runs into spawn to keep himself alive. Yeah, he can't get in there, Selleck. Sadly, he's going to get caught out here, and Cryma taking down Flo's no sniper, and this is a pretty nice hold coming out now after that C hold was a little bit questionable. They're definitely finding their feet underneath of them when it comes to this D and E point.
Yeah, 7 minutes just ticked off there. Which is a lot of time to play with for just the last 2 points, and I'm kind of questioning the decision here from Stacked to build a level 3 on D. I mean, you can, like, Stacked did it, they ignored D and they just focused E, which is what Ambition are doing. They're just sending players onto E to get cap time, which they're getting for free. They're getting free cap time on E because there's no sentry just waiting, and they're losing players as Setsul comes in, takes down Yaug and Admirable. And Morty went down earlier from the backstab, so they're just bleeding players. And sure, I really questioning Ambition's decision here. Why are they contesting D when they can just contest E? But in the end, it works out as the sap came in and Sinrise using that shotgun takes down the sentry. We got cap time on both points at the moment, but if once you get that D point, you lose absolute control from your spawn door. Those spawns that Stacked are coming out right now will close, and they'll have to rotate all the way around through C or through A in order to get around to the E point. As we see those doors close, and Stacked are in a decent position here, but the Uber has been used, and it's all up to Sinrise to try and get some damage. But with just under 6 minutes to go, Ambition, really, really good position, Sigafoo.
Yeah, they're looking incredibly strong, yeah. And Admirable currently holding outside of the spawn door, but you can no longer get in that way, which I think is the big point, is even though they did come in here, actually as the conscious popped off, they're actually trying to come through this choke point. Can they actually push through? The Delman goes down, the Heavy's going to put out some damage. Medic, I'm sorry, there's a spy right behind the Heavy, takes him out. The Soldier, though, is still doing a decent amount of damage with that black spot, trying to kill Admirable, who's down so low. Again, just needs to be tickled, but Admirable, he cannot be killed today when he's down that low. Grabs a med pack, going to get himself healed back up, and sitting at 100%. This gives them a chance to defend it, but they need to take back lobby. They can't hold right where they were, and they're going to try to do just that as they're getting onto Duck right now. They're going to run into the enemy combo, but are they going to drop Duck? He's in a little bit of a curious spot. Joins in with the Pyro. They're going to try to push forward, but Sinrise doing a nice job air blasting them back. And this is going to give Condom now 100% and a chance to re-push back in.
Yeah, and they do that, but they lose a lot of players in the process. But with only 5 alive for Stack, they are chasing through this area. And if they die here, it's going to be really hard for them to get back into this position. But there is a sniper here. He is watching the sightline. And they need someone to walk through. Not a good idea for Justice, and Condom there just trying to cross. And I really have to wonder why they're all going through this one place. And look at Ferry. Ferry and Hex coming in from behind, but they do get cleaned up. No, Hex is still alive, and he's getting free spam onto the combo. And, time's ticking down now. 4 minutes approaching, and Stacked kind of just sitting comfortably. Admirable is just juking everything today. He just seems unkillable at times. And he's going to have an Uber advantage, but Beeb goes down. No sentry for Stacked. And Condom has to be careful. He's weak here. Justice goes down, but Condom did escape. And it's just kind of, we're just kind of playing with time here. It's just Stacked. It's just going to take one mistake from Stacked, and it could all fall apart for them very, very quickly.
And I think it just happened as Cryma came in while you're talking and got a force off on Admirable, and they lost Duck in the process as well. 4 seconds until he's back alive. But right now, Selk's sitting right behind the medic, but oh no, the headshot kills him right before he was going to backstab Admirable, who had no idea. Now the Uber comes off onto the from TC. They're going to be pushing on this final point. Admirable cannot dodge that as he almost falls into the pit. The Spy actually misses a stab that is hard. Was going to try to get onto the point, but Kermit comes in, does some damage, times 3 onto the point, but this looks like the writing on the wall for the first round at least.
Oh, look at the milk on the point! Kermit throws the milk onto the point. Oh, but sorry to interrupt there. I just thought it was going to be huge as Duck came in. Maybe for some double donks on the point, but unfortunately he could only land 1 or 2. And there is time still on the point, but it's just over half capped. We still got time here. Stacked is still able to do something here. Beep with a little mini sentry underneath, trying his best to defend this. Hex is just spamming rockets on the point, and this is 3 minutes to go. This still could go anywhere.
Oh my god. This is ridiculous. How is this point not captured? Stacked defense on this is absurd. Hex does go down right when he's about to pop the conk off. And here we go. Delman actually the first one forward. He's trying to get out some damage, but is he going to get pushed back? Selk goes down to no Spy here on the offensive side, and Hard is right behind the engineer. He's going to go for the sap and stab, but he only gets the heavy, and he goes down for his and gets punished for that. 4 alive here on the defensive side, but they're trying to do everything. Pyro goes down to a headshot. Yaug going insane right now as they're trying to do everything. Uber finally gets popped off, and Admirable goes down to Flow. Can they finally capture this? Cryma falls into the pit. Engineer goes down, and this is chaos. 2 alive for the defensive side, but it should be enough here with 2 minutes left on the clock. What a cluster. As Fairy's going to try to air blast, he gets taken out nice and easy. And goodness, that was much harder than it should have been for TC to take this first round.
Absolutely. 2 minutes, about 2 minutes left on the clock, making it about an 8-minute time there from TC Ambition. But wow, I mean, you know, you think in a closer game there that could have gone the other way. I mean, Stacked were holding on to it. They had Admirable in this little kind of corner up here. He was well protected, couldn't get sniped. Yaug was sniping through this window, and anyone who walked onto the point, he would snipe. Like, it happened 2, 3, 4 times in a row where someone would try to walk forward and he would just get sniped. And with Morty kind of protected, he couldn't get sniped, he couldn't get spammed at. He was able to defend anyone getting close to his medic. Hammock there with the level 3 was trying his best to wrangle it, do something to get it kind of protect his team. But finally, it had to use that Uber to, you know, that's what they need to do, is take control of the other side, just block spawn to give the. Finally, TC Ambition done it, very close. Take the first round on this third map. So, I mean, if you're in Stack's shoes right now, like, what are you going to be saying to your team? Like, you know, you're 1 round away from being, you know, drops down into to the next tier. You're going to be out of Prem for the first time in, you know, 4 or 5 seasons. What are you going to say to get your team going?
I'm probably just going to tell them that, you know, the first half of that last round on offense in particular, they showed a lot of promise. I mean, the 3 minutes for the first 3 caps, they said it's not horribly fast, but it's also not terribly slow either. It actually set a pretty good pace if you could continue on it, and they ultimately got stuck on that DE side. So, you know, and they also showed a lot of promise on the defensive side, showing a lot of heart to be able to defend that point as long as they could. And I mean, they lost, I mean, they're kind of, you know, Admirable got dropped on the very first point, on the B point. And that really worked against them. That, like, they lost a lot of time, because if you think about it, right, they captured the first 2 points in 1 minute. If they put like 1 to 2 more minutes on the clock, on the B point, if they had a normal hold on it, that actually would have been much closer. So it'll be interesting. I mean, they definitely were not as bad as kind of this time seemed, but they also could improve very much so. So as long as Admirable doesn't drop here on the B point, I'm expecting to see a much better hold. And 8-minute time is, like, it's good, but, you know, TC looks sloppy in the end there. So we'll see if they can kind of come off here. But definitely Stacked is not out of it yet, but they need to get back in it. I mean, they need to get this round to take it to a 3rd round, because else they're going to be relegated, and as nobody wants that. As they're actually still on crits. They kept on crits on defense.
Interesting decision. I mean, I'm just take a quick look at the logs, and both Admirable and Condom only dying 6 and 5 times respectively, so not many deaths from the medics, so both are pretty well protected there. But Duck and Setsul were the top fraggers, 20 and 19. And it seems to be a battle of the demos in this game. They're both top damaging, top fragging. Flow this time just under with 18 frags. But I'm not sure, I'm just trying to look at the thing. It looks like item servers or something. People saying they can't switch weapons, so I'm not sure if this is intentional or not, but We'll soon find out if there's any sort of strat that they're using. Medigun on Condom, that's going to trump crits anytime. So we'll see how Admirable works with this. He's got Duck watching this area quite closely, and if he can land it sticky, he can probably surprise TC Ambition here if they're not aware of the crits.
Well, and holding this far forward is not bad when you have Uber Charge because you can keep yourself alive, but Crits Creek, you're just going to get evaporated. That's exactly what happens as a heavy comes around the corner. That is 4 players down, and then it's basically everybody down except for the engineer who's going to lose his gun right away. And yeah, I mean, hopefully the item server was not a part of that decision making because having Crits Creek and then holding that aggressively with it really worked against them as, again, the first 2 points are going to go down in the favor of TC incredibly quickly.
Yeah, that is, I mean, it looks like people are complaining about the item server, so I'm not sure if that crits was actually intentional, but either way, that just was totally just melted away there. 1 minute and 17 seconds is very, very fast for the first 2 points, so Stacks here need to do something. Admirable still running that Crits Creek, looks like he can't change off of the Crits Creek, so they're just holding this C point now, trying to make the best of it, I guess. As Hex doing a nice job taking down a couple of players. They're just slowing things down, trying to take control, and it looks like they're holding C. I mean, holding C I've seen done in so many ways, as well as pushing C. So I mean, what's your preferred way? Do you like to having a sentry here, because we've got beat with level 3 on C already?
Generally not. I usually like to have my engineer, or usually as an engineer, I like to play on the flank, shut down the AD connector, because it'll also, like, if you can shut that down, it doesn't allow the flank, you can also stop the E push, if that tries to happen. And I don't know, and it also lends itself to, after you give up the C point, you have something to fall back onto all ready to go. Having a gun here is not the worst thing in the world, but it's also in a very odd spot that is literally covering nothing. As Spy was able to get that sap down, the conch comes out here with the Uber Charge, and they're taking a lot of ground. The heavy goes down now. It's just Admirable who's going to get caught in here with the, and he's going to actually drop the Crits Creek, but it doesn't really count since it is a Crits Creek, I guess. Times 8 on the point as they're going to start to cover spawn. Fairy gets caught out here. Maybe a little bit of a bad decision to run out of spawn, as he's now on a 24-second respawn, and yes, they are getting robbed of this point, as you can hear in the background. And it'll be interesting to see if Stack can find anything good with this round, because it is looking terrible for them right now.
Yeah, 3 points down, only 2 minutes and 44 it's taken. Look how aggressive Yaug was there, hoping for the dream shot, but didn't quite get it. Sentry goes down from Beef, and the combo for TC Ambition, 75% Uber for Condom. He did go down quite weak there, and somehow Stacks are trying to defend this. Multi does take down Justice, and they're trying to defend this D point. I'm not sure if this is a wise decision, but it seems to be working for them somehow, as Admirable drops down and they do clean up the combo. Condom died as well, so 70%, 75% in the bank for Crits Creek on Admirable, but so much cap time on this E point. Look at Setsul and Shukui, they're just on the point, and it's so nearly capped that Stacked pretty much have to leave some players here to try and defend it. The crits comes out, the first one takes down Flow, no, Duck goes down to Cryma, and that's going to stop the crits in its tracks. 50% for Condom now, and is there any way that kind of Stacked can get some sort of grip back onto this game?
Yeah, pray to a deity, and pray very hard, as the D point is going down with a scout standing on top of it. Actually, the heavy gets the better of that 1v1, and now the Delman's going to come in here with the medic and the pyro and see if they can get anything, as Condom sitting at 95%. He's going to about to get that charge. They're going to try to hold off as long as they can for popping this, but the Devilman Duck is sitting right above them as the Pyro Fairy is going to drop down but not get the force off like he wanted to, and the medic's still there, but here comes the Spy. He's going to get the Soldier, not able to get the Demo Man. He's going to try to get something hard. Actually gets down the Demo Man down so low, but here comes the Heavy over the top. They do get the force off onto Condom, who's down to half HP, and this Uber's not going to be very good, but they did get the D point and looking pretty good to take it onto the E point as well.
Yeah, Flo took down Admirable there. And every death on the defense, especially after the C point, is so bad. It's going to be a 20-second respawn, and he's back up now. But in all that time, so much cap time, that D point's gone down. Duck gets headshot there, and Ferry is also down, so no damage to spam, no pyro to push him off, and Sinrise going huge. Takes down Yaug the sniper, and takes down Admirable as well. And with only 2 players left alive, it's the Spy. He gets taken down, he gets a ham to the face from Flo. It's Beep, can Beep do anything? He's trying to come around the long way around. He gets actually a couple of shotguns onto Flo. Didn't realise how close he was, but it's going to be a 5 minute and 12 second time, and that is verging on not the super fast, but considering they went through every single point, that is a pretty decent time, and Stacked under all of the pressure now. While Admirable has finally managed to change his minigun, he is on minigun, running Uber. Can Stacked pull off the process second half and get back into this and get the momentum back in their hands? Or could this be the end of Stacked in Prem?
I think this is the end of Stacked in Prem. They just looked so sloppy on multiple fronts. I mean, that final crit streak that they pushed in, so Duck comes around the corner, has crit streak, he has the entire team sitting in front of him. He's like a kid on a birthday with the presents sitting there. He wants to open up all the presents. He wants to kill all of the people with this crit streak, and he kills one, dies himself. Then Admirable is looking around like dumbfounded, going, hey, where's my team? Who am I going to crits next? Like, there's so many times where it could have gone so right for Stacked, but they just couldn't get it out, or him dying because he's holding too far forward with crit streak on the first point. Like, they looked incredibly sloppy, and if they have any chance in this game, it is to pick themselves up, to play very professionally and just clinically, because if they don't do that, they do not have a chance, and I just don't believe that they have it in them.
We do have a very aggressive hold here from Ambition, and I mean, every failed push on this map, especially with the time. But wow, sorry, the Uber comes in straight away onto Duck, just soloed, and he does enough damage to Condom. Look how low he was. He's under 10 HP there. Sacrifices his life, but he forced the Uber and he forced the sentry to be pulled back. But Admirable went down there. Setsul got so aggressive and just took down Admirable before he could retreat into spawn. And maybe not a good decision there, but the A cap has gone down. 4:20 left on the clock. For the next points, and it has actually a bit of an E cap going on. Hex is on the point, and this is entirely possible if we can go for an AE cap. Hex does. Oh no, he doesn't. Oh, he does. He fell into the pit, but landed on the pipe. Gets taken down by Setsul, and it is an E push coming in now. But Dark goes down, and Admirable is surely going to get taken down from a body shot from Flow there. And like I was saying, Sigafoo, every failed push is just playing into the hands of Ambition, because there's a point where, you know, it becomes impossible for you to cap that last point. And do you think they should continue going for the E pushes, or should they just kind of slow things down and just go through from B to C?
I would probably do kind of some sort of mixture, like if they had their... I mean, at a certain point you can only go for E pushes, but as soon as the enemy team knows you're only going to go for an E push, like, that's all they're going to defend against. And if you know... I mean, it's pretty easy to defend against the E point push if you know it's coming, and I think that's what... Stacked is only going to do now, is they committed their entire combo to the AE connected, the lobby area, if you will, as the Scout goes down, as well as the Spy and Soldier and the Heavy's the first one forward, trying to get forward, but they got to be careful because he's going to try to cover Spawn, but he takes a lot of damage there from the back side, as well as the Scout who's going to fall into the pit here. Actually, maybe not. Nope, he's going to fall. And this is not looking horrible, but the Spy's right behind the combo. Is he going to be able to get a stab that he wants? Admirable goes down, but the crits comes out. He gets 3 for it. Takes down Condom, and only 3 alive here on the defensive side. It's not seemingly too bad, but that's a long cap time to go.
Yeah, I mean, while you were watching all the fun action, I was watching the NGMG on the B point as Hammock and Beep were just kind of spamming each other's sentries with shotguns. Beep finally went down in the end, but we do have Kermit on this point. Times 3 as Hex has joined him, and 2.5 minutes to go. If Stacked can actually hold off these spawns, they are in a very, very good position to do this. The spam is coming down, but Kermit goes down and Hex goes down. They did not block off that spawn. You can come straight out of the spawn and get access to the E point. And Morty and Admirable are alone in White Room. They're getting chased, but no ferry comes out. And actually just WM onning. Finally goes down to Skipper, but this is Null tries to go for the backstab and doesn't manage to do it, as they are basically giving up the B point. Beep is capping the B point as they have to defend E now. Under 2 minutes to go, Sigafoo, so it is still possible for them to cap this point, but it's limiting their options. Flow down, so no sniper to defend the point. The quiz comes in onto Hex, and the first one gets deflected by the Pyro, and he actually gets launched onto the point. Uber comes down, and it's just going to clean up everyone as Setsul and Sinrise get most of it, and Admirable is caught between a rock and a hard place. Somehow he's still alive! And he finally falls into the pit. So, yeah. Stacked. Just they need to cap E now. That's it. They need to wipe Ambition and cap E. That's basically their last chance.
Well, I like what Beep did, is capturing that B point while all of this was going down, which is, I think, what, you know, Beep needed to do, what the enemy team needed to do. The Crits Creek play, I mean, again, like, Stacked seem to be going, like, they're trying to hit a home run, but they're just kind of whiffing every single time. And I feel like if they just took it a little bit slower, like if they understood, like, I don't know, like either they need to hit it perfectly or they just need to play a little bit slower. I guess they got it the first time where you got, the 3 stickies on it, but they didn't come down with the point because they didn't cover the spawn door. We'll see if they're able to come down with the C point here or something as hard is going to sap this gun. Engineer's still on it, but Duck's going to come around the corner and try to help him out. Gun does go down, so at least help him out a little bit, but they lose Duck. And Admiral goes down as well. This is not looking good. 40 seconds on the clock, and I think it's only a few more seconds before it's impossible for them to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the round started off really well with Duck, getting those crit stickies and just, taking out key players, and they could have rolled it from there, but they maybe just weren't fast enough to block those E-spawns and, get the right players on at the right time. Duck is on this E point now alone, but with only 15 seconds left to go, that is actually it. It's game over, which will mean it's 2-0 to TC Ambition on this third map, taking it 2 maps to 1, and TC Ambition officially will be a Prem team next season, completing our set of 8 teams. So I think for the first time in a while, we're going to have 2 teams promoted directly from High into Prem, and Stack will be relegated to High, having played in Prem since Season 6, their 4th season in a row, cut short, and they will be going back to High for Season 10. Is that kind of a fair result, do you think, Sigafoo, across the 3 maps? Like, do you think that's a fair representation of what we've seen today, that Ambition were the better team here?
I mean, I wouldn't say that they were definitely the better team. Stacked showed themselves, at least on the second map of Process, to come back, and that looks definitely lackluster to TC, but on this map, on Steel, so Gullywash, the first half of Process, yeah, they definitely looked like the better team. But then when it came to this map, Steel, which was the map choice of Stacked, they got to choose a decider map, they chose Steel, they just looked so sloppy, and absolutely TC deserves to move into Prem. And yeah, congratulations to TC Ambitions to be able to move on here. I don't know, how about yourself? Do you feel like TC earned it today?
I think, yeah, I mean, we look at Gullywash and we talked about how, it was a pretty fair match, but, Ambition were just more clinical in their pushes. We looked at Process and Ambition got more kills but less damage in that kind of freak occurrence and lost. I mean, I don't know whether, I don't want to use the word choking, but I don't know whether the pressure just got to them a little bit. They started to kind of ease off. You thought, hey, we won the first map 3-0, we're 2-0 up, we got half this map to go, we're Prem boys, and everyone starts kind of chilling out and getting a little bit too relaxed in the mumble comms. And maybe that's, just allowed Stacked to get that foot back in the door and just kind of force their way back. So, I mean, yeah, Stacked, there were moments, there were glimpses there of the team that they can be. I'm not sure what their plans are, and we're just asking to see if we're going to have anyone for interviews from either team. But looking at this map, it just seemed that Ambition definitely, they had the one-up on Stacked on Steel. Their defense was pretty good. They seemed a bit lost. That Stacked, that is, when they were trying to push the last points, and I kind of didn't really agree with some of their defensive options. And it just seemed Ambition were in control across the entirety of, just other than that kind of moment on Process, that last 10-15 minutes where things started to slip away a little bit. I think Ambition were pretty much in control across the game, as we are joined by Setsul. So congratulations, Setsul, you are officially going to be a Prem team next season.
Gets his mic working
together. Thanks to
there we
Pomsky.
Go.
Praise Pomsky.
Praise Pomsky. How do you guys? We still get Cryma, the soldier from Ambition here, as well. So congratulations to you as well. I mean, how do you feel? Like we were just talking about, if that was a fair result. How do you guys feel about that? I mean, were there any nerves after, Process? You kind of aware after being 2-0 up. Were there any kind of nerves going into Steel that you might have kind of lost another chance?
Well, Stacked is a kind of a mixed team, so they're like bad on Steel. Like, that's at least my thought process for this, so I wasn't at least very worried. I don't know about the rest.
Okay, for me it was, as I said, I was tilting on Process, so I knew if I didn't do that on Steel, we would win it, because, like, if we get the rotation working, then we are really, really good at attack defense. That's just Like only if we mess up defense hard, then we lose it. But otherwise, we get really good attack times. So if we can get our defense working, we win pretty much against anyone. Although we haven't played against chess yet because they cancel on us. But yeah, on good days, we actually like AD maps. So I was kind of glad that they picked Steel as a decider. Not sure why they did that. Everyone else banned it against us.
Oh, so it's kind of like your secret weapon. You always had like steel in your back pocket just in case it ever came to that. We are joined by other people as well. So we got Flo and Hammock as well from TC Ambition. So congrats to you guys.
Thank you.
As well for reaching the Prem. So to ask you guys, I mean, coming into this game, did you have any kind of set plans for the first two maps? Because Process, you guys looked, you looked strong on 5CP maps. I mean, were you expecting to be that dominant in the early stages, or did it come as a bit of a surprise?
It's gonna sound creepy, but yes. Because Process...
I was waiting for Flo to just absolutely destroy everybody, so I just spent the whole game trying to protect him.
Yeah, like, snipers can be pretty strong on 5CP maps, and we are playing very much depending on our DM. So we were really glad that we could play 5CP.
What Flo is trying to say, he carries us, so any map that's good for sniper is good for us. That's pretty much it. 5CP is like, we're pretty good at holding last if it comes to that. So we basically get 3 pushes. Like if we fail, we can always hold last and just try and try again until we are on their last. That's why it's better for us, I guess. Again, unlike King of the Hill, where we have nothing to fall back to. On 5CP, we can just give up a point. Of course, we have, as I think that has been said before, but we have a few Sixes players, so they know the drill. And we can just keep leapfrogging points until we somehow get around.
Okay, it sounds good to me. I mean, we also joined here by Admirable from Stacked.
Yo yo.
Hello there, fellow casting legend, joining us to how was your experience of that game? I mean, kind of what were your expectations, and like did it go down similar to how you thought, or were you a bit more kind of confident? Do you think you were going to take it?
Well, Beat definitely didn't think we were going to take it. Every time we have an official, especially one that matters, he always gets like really antsy, and he's always telling us about how the other team have all these great players and stuff. But we practiced yesterday; it was good fun, and we showed up today. But I didn't know exactly what to expect, but I'd heard they had a good sniper. Obviously, I know Condom's excellent, and she'll keep well. So we knew we had a game in our hands. I've seen Cryma as well, but on Gullywash, it took us a long time to really like get into our flow. Like I think I needed to maybe micromanage people a little bit more. There was a lot of like different expectations between what I thought we should do and what Morty wanted to do, and like where we should be positioning ourselves. So eventually, I think on Process, we just were like, let's stop, or let's just kind of go, full retard and just play the rush game, try and make it a real scrap, real messy. But they were definitely better practice than us, and deserved to win. We couldn't play them at their own game, so we had to try and like drag them down into the gutter. But we had just a disastrous steal. The first time I got backstabbed, entirely my fault, just not looking. And then I'm talking about the B forward, and then in the second defense, I thought we had
surprise crits defense.
Yeah, I thought we had fucking Uber, because I went back to the spawn and I changed, but it was exactly the same time they changed the whitelist, and for some reason it bugged out. So I was like stuck on crits for that whole defense, and then the next round.
Wow. I'm sorry about that.
It wasn't. I didn't know because I don't have view models on. It was like nobody else noticed, and it was like I thought I had Ubered, and I was like, what the fuck?
It makes me happy to hear you say that, because I've been there before, no view models, and you have no idea what you're running. I mean, we did kind of question, like we assumed it must have been an item problem, running crits on the defense. But I mean, after Process, did you kind of guys get a little bit hyped up? Did you think, yeah, like we've won Process, we can like win Steel now? Had you practiced it enough to kind of think you could take it?
Yeah, we played it a lot in whatever week Steel Week was, but it was a long time ago and different roster and stuff. Well, like I definitely had an idea of how we wanted to play, but every time our defense was disastrous at the start, so we were just like scrambling and trying to rely on instinct rather than set plays. And we made some really dumb mistakes, like we were trying to hold connector, almost forgot that they could just walk into cliff, and Beep was freaking out because his gun was going down. But like I really love Steel, so I was more than happy to play it. But
yeah, I'm not sure why you picked that as a decider, because it favors teams. We still play it with 2 mercs, but it's better what you got. You kind of just had to use whoever was still on the roster because everyone else left. So yeah.
We've also got sorry to interrupt. We just got Duck and Yaug have also joined us. Commiserations. I mean, Yaug, you really, I think, turned it on in process. I think that was part of the reason that you guys started to, claw the rounds back and actually win the game. And Duck, I mean, I'm pretty sure you top damaged across. I think you top damaged across the entire evening, but each map you were consistently putting out that damage. So, I mean, how hard are you guys taking it? Are you how disappointed are you in reality?
To be honest with you, I was supposed to play PCWs tonight, and I found out that I was supposed to play this like a day or two before, so I was a bit, I have to play Highlander. But no, it's fine. It was good fun. I enjoyed it. So, well done to the team that won.
I think the question that's on everyone's lips, I mean, I know, Admirable, I don't think you're on the UGC roster. I know some of you guys...
It's mad. He's like, Beep's made a new team, didn't even invite any of us.
So what's going on? I mean, technically, because I was trying to work this out with other Highlander aficionados earlier about what exactly happens now, because
I can tell you.
Technically you guys are relegated, but I was asking the question, if a team was to drop, a current Prem team was to say, we're thrown in the town, we're not playing Prem, and a space opened up, would Stacked be allowed to reapply for the preseason playoffs? And no one could give me a definite yes or no answer.
That's the way it's always been in sixes. Like, teams have always just folded if it's not working, and then they come back and they try and win their way into through the qualifiers if there are going to be any. But
I think it's different because they've got an entirely new roster, haven't they? So they might potentially do that.
That's true. So I mean, are any of you guys sticking with Stacked for
didn't get
UGC
invited?
I think there's three people from today.
Okay.
So Beep was he was disappointed in the last season because the activity was poor. We never had the same players. I think I only played about 3 of the officials. But, he's been hatching a plan to put together a new King team. They've already been playing a lot in the off-season, I think, but he wanted to bring in the best possible team, he hoped, to try and win this relegation game so he wouldn't have to go and try and win his way back into Prem, but now he's got to do it the hard way and prove himself, man.
Wow, so the answer to that is Stacked is living on and hoping to maybe get back into Prem. I don't know what they're going to be called, but yeah. But you guys are unfortunately not going to be part of that, or the future projects.
Didn't get invited,
Nope, same.
Didn't even get asked, man. I think he just assumed they didn't want to play Highlander because they hadn't been available before Christmas.
I suppose, yeah. Well, Sigafoo, is there anything you wanted to ask the guys?
No, I think you had a lot of good questions, so I don't want to drag this thing on too long. But you guys, it was a fun match, very back and forth. It was exciting to cast.
It was really fun to play as well.
Yeah,
although it was
it's definitely an experience.
Maybe York's not the same page as us, but we had fun.
Nah.
Once I started buffing Yaug, things were getting better. But then still,
oh my god, it was okay.
Right, cool. So, I mean, once again, congratulations to TC Ambition, who will be taking that final spot in Premiership for Season 10 and Stacked. We'll have, a little bit of work to do if they want to get back into Prem for Season 10. We'll just run down the guys and we'll see if we've got any shout-outs. So we'll start from the top. Admirable, is anyone you want to shout out to?
Yeah, I think I'd like to shout out to the legend that is Raptor. He's Prem champion, just like yourself, CeeJaey, shout out to you. But also, he's getting ready to win the Sixes Premiership as well. I think he might be the best player in Europe right now. Okay.
I'm interesting to see because I've been casting here. I don't know how his Sixers game went, so no spoilerinos, please. I'll be watching that later to see if he drops, and then I can criticize his medic play. So we'll come down to Cryma. Do you have anyone you shout out to?
I would like to shout out my team. Elazul, he promised us BlackOut if we win. And I would also like to say that Afirax is gay.
I agree.
Oh my god.
Thank you. Duck, have you got anyone to say shout out to?
Yeah, shout out to Beep. Best of luck, bro.
Cool. Flo?
Shoutouts to my team who have always been helpful, and of course strong opinions because they helped us practicing a lot in the last time. So that's my shoutouts.
Cool, thanks. Hammock?
Shout out to my team. Shout out to Flo for carrying us. Shout out for Scrambled for literally the best spreadsheet ever. That way we always know what to do. And shout out to McNando for being like the best non-gun spy.
Awesome. Setsul?
Shout out to Pomsky for literally winning us the game with his strats. Shout out to Flo for carrying us. Shout out for Justice and Shulhul, aka Squirtle. He's super effective for working for us. Shout out to Beep for trying to make us play with 8 players. And shout out to the admins for not letting him do that. Maybe we will meet him again in Prem next season with a full roster on both teams. So, looking forward to that.
Yeah, looking forward to the happy ending. Sigafoo, is anyone you want to shout out to?
Just shout out to you, CeeJaey, for joining me out here on the cast, as I was able to cast you, not joining you on the finals, and then of course John on the camera.
Can I just
I love you, John.
Can I just shout out to anyone that ever played for Stacked? You know, it's the end of an era. Keeps making a new team. It might even be not called Stacked anymore. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, we said at the start the cast. You know, Stacked. I mean, they were around kind of season 4, I believe, but officially kind of an actual team completing a season 5. And other than Highlander and Fair Enough, they were, along with Chess, the longest kind of teams being in Prem. You know, this 4 successful seasons, or successive seasons, I should say. Finally, Yaug, is anyone you shout out to, man?
Yeah, of course. Shout out to CeeJaey for being an awesome team. You wrecked us. It was fun to play against you. I hope you stay together. And a shout out to the casters and whatnot for doing what you do. And a shout out to Fuchs. Yeah, that's it. Good game.
Got one more shout out to add. Shout out to Mars, who made this team in the first place but can't be here tonight because he's in the army now. So, shout out to Mars, definitely.
Awesome. Some nice information to send him next time you speak to him, to let him know that his team has won and they are in Prem. So yeah, this has been the cast. Shout out to my team as always. Strong opinions. It was fun playing with them, and a shout out to you guys. This was actually the last game of season 9. Everything has been consolidated and finished up now. The only thing to wrap up will be the polls on, you know, best player of the season and all of the different classes and such. So check ETF2L. That will be appearing at some point, I believe, sometime soon, hopefully. And we'll be having an award show with hopefully myself and other team leaders to kind of talk about the season and then go over the awards so we can see who are the best players on each class. And yeah, thank you to Sigafoo and John for the cast today. It's been a pleasure. It's nice always to get into the casting, and to the 2 teams for putting on a really good show. Specific shout out for TC Ambition. When you were 2-0 up on Process, I did think I was going to get an early night. So when I'm tired at work tomorrow, having watched half an hour of Steel, I'll explain to my colleagues why that is. But this was TC Ambition versus Stacked, and this was BlackOut Gaming TV. Check out the awards show sometime soon, and we'll see you next time.
To everyone else, pleasant dreams.